And welcome, everybody. How are we all doing today?
I am doing fantastically. Thank you so much for having us.
Wonderful Saturday. We have some guests on today.
It's going good, eh?
It's a full house.
I know. Well, actually, a funny fact. The full house used to be, I think 6 people.
I'm Uncle Jesse.
Or like I don't know, or like 5 people for StreamYard. They actually doubled it to 10, so we can actually have like really? 10 people on at once, which is crazy.
Well, we should do that someday. I think it'd be lots of fun to do.
We wouldn't be social distancing then.
It'd be pretty funny. But we got a show today. Let me tell you, there's absolutely nothing else going on today. Yep. Absolutely nothing else going on.
No. This is it.
This is the only thing going on.
Yeah, in the whole entertainment universe, this is it. So we should be expecting a lot of views today and people in the chat, because the chat is always good on this show compared to other law shows that are out there. And look at that. Who's this?
I just saw Mike Walters in the chat. It says, "Hey, Chris, did you get my email the other day?" Yes, I did, and absolutely, we got to set up a time. We couldn't do it this week because we were too close to the show. I got it a little bit too close to the show, but we'll definitely set up a time for me and Mr. Hop to connect with you. Probably a Friday or a Saturday. We'll do something.
I'm always down anytime.
Absolutely. So it's funny. So we have 2 guests on the show today. We have Gibby and we have Phoenix.
Where do these guys come from? My goodness, I'm shocked and amazed.
Hello,
the former Anime North staff member.
Yeah, I was here 2 months ago. I was on your podcast 2 months ago to talk about Anime North stories. That went 3 hours, and I don't know if you want to continue on with this saga that has happened, but we'll see what goes on.
We have
great to be here today.
I got a question. Is anime really in the North?
Yes.
That one.
Yes.
Northern. Yes.
Mind blown. Everything's a lie. I thought I was in Japan.
Oh my goodness, Phoenix. Are you drinking today, Phoenix? Should we wear something?
I'm always drinking.
Awesome.
And we have one of our top Patreons, Phoenix, joining us today. That is a perk of the Patreon, by the way. We have, I think, 2 slots left open, or 1 or 2 slots left open for the top Patreon.
It's limited, isn't it?
It is limited because
people should jump on the
top Patreon has a choice to join us on shows on a regular basis, basically.
You guys can get rid of me. You're stuck with me for life.
Is that true, Crumb? Do we have to contact our lawyers, look over the fine print, just to confirm what Phoenix speaking here? Because I don't want to
subject to change.
I don't want to feed this individual and have him constantly come on a show for the rest of our lives. For goodness sakes, you're kind of someone once.
Subject to change. I mean, month to month, right? So.
What that legal paper's gonna say? Sorry, nothing we can do.
Yeah. But I think a good goal today. I'm obviously being facetious when I'm saying there's nothing else going on today. There's a couple things going on today. However, I would like to shoot for the amount of viewers that Anime North is getting today. It seems like a very.
I think it'll just a chat.
Oh yeah, can I talk about this for a moment?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm thinking that anime fans, they might be getting a little bit fatigued by the number of online conventions there are.
No kidding.
Before all of this happened, there was an online concert in January. I don't know if you've heard of the anime called Caro and Tuesday. Caro and Tuesday. It's on Netflix. It's about a futuristic Mars, and two girls are trying to become the next big act. The first act was like an America's Got Talent type show, but they performed all their songs in English. And at the beginning of the year, they held I think it was their very last online concert, and it got over 70,000 online viewers just for that concert, and it was a huge success.
Well, that's awesome.
Then COVID-19 hit.
Awesome.
Now we're doing all of these online conventions. At Anime Expo, which happened last month, at the beginning of this month, Anime Expo's events, they averaged around 2,000 to 3,000 viewers for just the regular stuff, maybe 5,000, 6,000 viewers for the big stuff like the Aniplex panels, the company panels, and then it topped out at about 12,000, 13,000 for the concert that they held. And the concert was a pre-recorded concert with a lot of Japanese singers, and that was the big show. Yeah. So when you really think about it, Anime Expo gets 200,000 people, I believe. Although that number might be inflated because they count one person per day. So let's say closer to 100,000 people. And out of the 100,000 people, you're only having at a maximum 10,000 people watching the stream at a time. Mm-hmm. So Anime North has an attendance of about 30,000 people, but right now they're actually having their online convention, and their viewership is about 100 people. So 30,000.
Last I checked, it was sitting at 93.
So it makes you wonder if this sort of online convention, anime convention thing is actually going to hold up in the future, if people will even bother, if when COVID-19 lifts, if there is a point doing an online portion plus an in-person portion at the same time, because some conventions are thinking of that. Once they go back to normal, they might want to keep their online portion on. Who knows? I don't know what your thoughts about that are.
Why are people stealing, plays from our playbook? For goodness gracious, we've been doing this for a very, very long time. Wow. And the funny thing is, something I gotta say to people over here again, not easy, isn't it? Wouldn't it be kind of funny if an individual such as myself bounced around back in the early 2000s and said, "Hey, I got an idea. Let's stream stuff online." I wonder who said that.
Well, we have some, like Gippy said earlier, we still have some juicy stuff to talk about for Anime North, but I'm gonna save that for a little bit later in the show.
Yeah,
or I'll put this stipulation. We'll save it for near the end of the show, or if we can match Anime North's numbers.
So I need to get drunk first because I got my alcohol. Like last time I had some really fancy beer. This time it's just Guinness Draft. I can't.
Guinness is good. Guinness is good.
Yeah. Shadows King is saying the hardest part of it online cons is setting up the virtual ball pit. I agree.
Well, if they buy into 2 panels, maybe we can give them an hour free, perhaps.
Yeah.
The real question though is, do we get 2 minutes free in it? And has anyone peed in it? If you guys don't get the reference, dash on.
Oh, I know DashCon. Yeah, everyone knows about DashCon. There's a documentary on DashCon actually.
Is there really?
Yep.
Who was it?
On DashCon.
Who was it produced by?
About everything.
Who was it produced by? Do you know?
One moment. I'm going to load that up right now. Let's see here. DashCon.
It was a couple of kids with their iPhones.
It was a Tumblr convention.
DashCon by Internet Historian, 12 million views. So if you want to know all about that, that's a documentary.
Okay,
it was a Tumblr convention.
Okay, awesome. So who's the Internet Historian?
I don't know, some guy who makes videos, but he made the documentary about DashCon. So
all right, cool.
Yeah, and as Naughty One's saying, anything online or virtual takes a long time to get an audience. I completely agree. Yeah. It takes a lot of investment, a lot of time, a lot of pre-planning. It's not something you can just kind of cobble together and expect people to just go to it.
Less Nick Wakita.
Well, that's different.
Well, Wakita broadcasts every single day for 3 to 4 hours straight. The audience said he's
let's take a look at him for just a moment, right? I mean, he had been broadcasting for a long time before he got the numbers he's getting now. And arguably, he was known because he covered a couple of the fairly notable, laughable lawsuits.
Yeah.
But he covered Vic Mignogna's lawsuit, and that kind of rocketed him into where he is today.
Yeah.
So
he didn't get much viewership. He had streamed, I think, about a year and a half before the Vic Mignogna case, but he covered Russell Greer, he covered the Maddox lawsuit, but that didn't pull in anywhere near the numbers that the Vic lawsuit did.
No, exactly. And you have a lot of people from the Vic lawsuit that just hang around either because they hate watching him and they want to catch him doing something stupid, or they like watching him because he's entertaining. So lots of different reasons for that.
It's a boomer.
Yeah, I mean, there's that too.
I mean,
it's very.
How many times has he streamed and forgot to turn on his mic?
It's true. It's very difficult to build an online community. I would say an online audience, building an online community, fostering an online community is not too terrible, but getting into the numbers of the thousands or things like that, that's the difficult part, because that's not something that you can kind of predict, right?
No.
I mean, we could flip on a show here. We could flick on a show here and have an audience of 7 or 8, which is great. That's really, really good for us. And we're happy with that. We love our audience. And then some days we could have a show where we'll have 90 to 100 people watching for no reason.
Yeah.
Well, I like to think there's at least 2 reasons to watch.
Yeah. Do you think conventions should invest more resources into their online portion of the convention after this year? Because probably. Go ahead.
Okay. Just to cut you off there. Of course. Reason being is that one of the reasons why we're streaming the panels over at Kitchener Comic-Con, and we've been doing this since the conception of the actual event itself. And again, we haven't really streamed every single year, but we do what we can and stuff like that, is to basically broaden our actual audience when we have our panels and stuff like that. Because the thing is that I have a friend of mine who lives in Japan, and he really, really digs the stuff that I do, and he really likes Kitchener Comic-Con, and he likes everything that's going on, but he can't attend the event. So the thing is, if we could stream it, he could watch it when he's at home, and it works that way. Plus, on top of that, if you're very smart what you're doing, you could actually bring other elements into the online component. I'm not going to try to give too much away, because heaven forbids we're not getting paid to give out good ideas to rival conventions.
Well, and considering already we've briefly talked about every single convention the face of the planet's taken and run with it. So
exactly. So if we keep giving out more before we have the chance to stabilize ourselves, so hey guys, here's some great ideas for you. Go off and capitalize and be successful, blah 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 blah. But when it really comes down to it, we between Crumb, myself, and our event team, we really are 2 to 3 steps ahead, and we've always been there. And the thing is that it's really funny to see these other conventions tripping over themselves to struggle to catch up at least 1 step ahead, because they weren't thinking this. Because when it really comes down to it, they were preparing for nothing but good times. It's hey, look, you know what? Well, we'll just rent a place. We'll get some insurance. We'll get some big guests in. No problem. Everything's good. major virus comes up from nowhere, society gets shut down. What do you do? Because now here comes the funny part. You're contractually obligated to basically move forward with your event initiative. And if you can't do it, you're on the hook of paying them back, or basically you're going to court because you can't perform your actual part of the actual agreement. And let's just say you have an out clause. The funny thing is that entity who signed with you won't advertise with you anymore, because if they can't handle what's going on, why would they, and they can't prepare for whatever comes down the pipes, why would they want to invest more money moving forward? And on top of that, it really gets interesting really, really quickly. And people should have listened to me years ago.
To add on to this thought here, it's basically like, to go back to what Gippy was asking. Yes, I do think that conventions should invest time and effort into streaming portions of their event, mostly because you have people that love your event, that want to support your event, that want to go and enjoy your event. But that's not always the case, right? You have people that they either work if they have a job, or they can't make it because of financial restrictions or things like that. If you want to build a community, if you want to build a fan base, you have to be accessible. You can't just be exclusive, because then you start excluding people and you start making it like a really not welcome atmosphere. I mean, that's all fine and dandy for like a fan expo, right? Where you have like 6 digits of people coming through the door, or whatever else. That's fine, because they know they're going to make their numbers and they have capped space. But wouldn't it be nice if you could catch a panel, like say a Mark Hamill came to Fan Expo, but Fan Expo sold out, you can't get into it, or you can't get the weekend off, or you can't afford the ticket. Wouldn't it be nice to like sit there and watch in real time a panel with Mark Hamill, right? Like maybe have him take questions from the online audience as well, like stuff like that. It's the interactivity. It's giving back to a degree. It shows that you care about the fans. Then, because obviously these things care about money, they care about numbers. But maybe next year, when the person is able to book the time off, maybe next year when the person is able to afford the convention, they'll come out and they'll bring their friends. It's about investing into your fans. That's the big thing behind it for me.
Mm-hmm. So, and it generates opportunity.
Yeah.
But, however, what do we know? We're just a bunch of Canuckleheads, right?
Yeah. One thing I want to add is that, I would like as many events to be streamed as possible, simply because when you're at a convention, you can only go to one event at a time. What if there are 2 panels that share the same time slot? You want to go to both of them, but you can only choose one. Perhaps one of the panels can be recorded and you can watch it later, if it's streamed after the convention, and then you can be able to take it in. And everyone's had that dilemma, choosing which event to go to and not going to the other one.
And it also takes pressure off of the individual attendees as well, and it just works. But again, it all really comes down to what the convention owner really wants to broadcast, I guess you could say.
Yeah. All right. So I know Phoenix is having some feedback issues with his microphone, so he'll be back with us shortly.
Oh no, it's the curse of the Ricada. It has seeped into our broadcast once again.
Like I said, he's like Macbeth. You mention his name and everything goes sideways.
Oh, you're back, Phoenix. Sweet.
Just a heads up, my roommate's being a bit of a dick. So if music starts playing on my end, I might have to mute myself again.
Oh no, you're fine. You're fine.
No worries.
Oh, I'm hearing a wobbly noise. Who is that?
That's Mr. Hop's mic.
What's that?
You're tapping your microphone. Yeah, it's coming through your microphone.
Okay, I'm not tapping anything.
No, please don't mention Rackets again. Every time we mention his name, this happens.
Gotcha.
Yeah, there's a tapping noise coming from your mic, Mr. Hop.
Okay, I do not know how that is happening. How bad is it's happening?
It's really bad.
Really? Okay, I'm
Yeah.
not.
Try rearranging your microphone. I'll mute you for a moment.
All right.
Alrighty. Sorry about that, folks. It wouldn't be a stream if we didn't boomer it, right?
No. Nick boomered it.
Nick, yeah, it's Nick boomering it. We'll try to bring him back on here. All right, I think it's better now. Mr. Hop?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How's that?
That's better.
All right. Didn't do much, fellas. Didn't do much at all.
Well, sometimes it's the little things.
Uh-huh. Isn't it?
Yeah. So I basically we have some stuff to talk about today. As well, before we get into anything, did Gippy or Phoenix have any stories to share?
Well, I shared the good stuff off stream, but let me think.
Let Phoenix go first.
Any good convention stories?
Maybe you're the guest. I'm just the hanger on. You go right ahead.
Oh boy, you want a what kind of story do you want in particular? Just a convention story, or you just want
convention stories?
Yeah, one.
Or any rumors that you've heard, or anything like that that could be true or false.
Oh, okay. I'm just wondering whether I should start with a good one or a bad one. Well, last year at Otaku-thon, I was meeting my friends in Montreal, and some of them have never had the Jollibee fried chicken, right?
Oh man!
You know what the Jollibee fried chicken is, right?
It's Filipino fried chicken,
and it's like in the Philippines, it's bigger than McDonald's. But so they opened up a bunch of locations in the Toronto area, but none in Quebec yet, probably because of the bilingual laws or whatever. So it's just really hard to go into that province. So some of my friends in Quebec really wanted to taste Jollibee and what it was all about. So for last year's Otaku-thon, I was going on a plane to Montreal there, and then taking the train back. But going on a plane allowed me to smuggle a bucket of Jollibee onto the plane. But of course, because of all the security things now, they inspected my luggage. They said, "Why are you carrying a bucket of fried chicken, and why is it still warm?" I'm like,
"This is
so they looked at me really strangely, but they let me off the hook. However, what they did toss was I had a bottle of mouthwash, which was apparently a little bit too large because there's a 100 milliliter container limit. Otherwise, they tell you to chuck it. So that got tossed, but the fried chicken didn't, which is a good thing.
I got a funny story too to piggyback off of what KP said. I had an incident coming back from Texas to Canada. What happened was I got really hungry and I went to Whataburger, which is the best burger you'll ever have. I'll tell you right now. I bought 5 of their Big Mac, close to the Big Macs, and smuggled them in my suitcase to have it on a plane in case I got hungry. I'm going through Border Patrol. I go through customs, and I'm at security. My shoes are off, my socks are off, everything's on the box to go through, and I get there. I'm just making sure my roommate's not being a dick. Anyway, so I get through security, and my box goes through, and they said, "All right, well, we're pulling you through aside for a secondary screening. We found some stuff in a bag." I go to the back room, and next thing you know, this big burly Homeland Security agent unzips my bag and looks inside and goes, "You have 8 Whataburgers in here. What are you doing?" He goes, "Well, I'm cheap and I don't want to pay full price for a meal on the plane. I just figured I'd have a few while I'm in there." He goes, "You could have just done that your carry-on luggage avoided this." So they laugh and they go, "Well, I'm Canadian, sorry." Eh? And they laugh even harder and goes, "All right, be on your way and don't do it again." I just kind of picture them like shaking their head, go, "You Canadians smuggling food because you want to pay $10 for a craft dinner and cheese."
That's my goodness.
That's funny. So the border guards are going, "Why are you sneaking food in?"
And Randy's asking, "Would you like some stories from us?" Yeah, absolutely. If you guys have some stories, definitely share them in the chat. Be happy to pick up on them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so did Mr. Hop, did you have any stories that you wanted to throw in here today?
Oh God, there are so many. I really.
That's what the show is for.
Of course. I'm sort of in sleepyhead mode. I've just been relaxing all day long, and now, of course, sleepyhead mode's catching up with me, which is absolutely fantastic. So I'm not on top of my game today. Shit. Just trying to think here.
Dun dun dun.
Exactly. I'm really drawing a blank right now. I've got nothing that's in the forefront of my brain.
Pop, tell about the cat story you told me.
The what?
The cat story you told me on Twitter.
The cat story?
The one you were feeding.
No, we're talking about convention.
No. Those are convention stories.
Oh,
not what happens in my normal day that I don't like to share with the audience type like story.
Yeah, I thought we were just telling funny stories. My apologies.
No, we're talking about convention stories. So, salacious convention stories that may or may not be true.
All right. Yeah, no. All of my convention stories are pretty fucking brutal. So I really don't want to get too deep in the weeds and the negativity, if you know what I mean. So
yeah, that comes later. That's why I had to think a little bit. Because the ones you remember are all the negative ones, because it gets your emotions flared up. It's like you can have 5 good memories, but for every 5 or 10 good memories, that one bad one sticks out, and you remember that one more.
Yeah.
I got a funny one actually. Now that I think about it, it is a convention story. Right. So you can exit doubt this, but being a boomer and living on a rock, I didn't know what a brony was. So in Richmond, I had heard there's a brony convention. I thought, all right, could it be too bad? Probably it was something else than I expected. I go sign up for registration, get approved. I go and I see all these people walking half naked in pony costumes. And I'm looking at my buddy who went with me. He didn't sign up, but he dropped me off. And I go, what the hell is this? And he goes, I don't know. You're the one who signed up for it. And I find out the My Little Pony convention.
Oh wow.
So I'm stuck doing security and first aid for it. And I'm at a table, and what happened was, whatever the pink horse's name is, I don't remember any of this crap.
Pinkie Pie?
Sure. Anyways, they've been in the elevator and they're doing the jumping game where they jump and they bust the cables. And what had happened was the pink one ended up being slammed into the wall and broke his nose and had blood coming out, right? So I take him to the first aid room, had to clean out the dried blood, stop from bleeding. So I said, all right, take this napkin, pinch your nose, count back to 20, and leave it there, right? So he does it. He tilts his head forward and throws up. So I'm asking, have you had anything to eat today? No. Have you had anything to drink today? No. All right, you're probably dehydrated. The blood loss is making you sick. Here's a bottle of water. Do you feel like you need to go to the hospital? No, she'd be okay. Gets up, faints. He's going to the hospital. So I'm trying to pick up this 300-pound dude, get him back on the bed, laying down, make sure he's okay while I'm calling an ambulance. His girlfriend I've seen him all day, busts into the first aid room. Well, is my boyfriend in here? Yeah, he's right there. He goes, he's diabetic. Now there's a set of problems. So I'm listening to his, have my ear next to his mouth, smelling for ketones. Sure enough, he has ketones. So next thing I know, I had to check his blood sugar because I'm also diabetic, right? So I have my, I'm pinching his finger to get some blood. Blood comes out. He has a blood sugar for 35. 35 is extremely bad for diabetics. That's like near death, right?
Yeah.
So I'm calling 911, telling him to get here. We have a ketonic male who hasn't had anything to drink or eat all day. Gets him on the stretcher and leaves. And next thing you know, the next day, I'm in shit with the Conheads because why didn't I do more for him? I did everything I possibly could for the guy and got kicked out. So that's my adventures in Brony Land, and I would say never go again.
Wow.
That's heavy. I'm sorry to hear about that, Phoenix.
Oh, Randy
has not that heavy. It's funny that that this all happened in perfect, like I would say perfect threes. Like it was all at once.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, in hindsight, I find it's funny that I ended up in this situation to begin with, registering for something that I didn't know what it was. And this all happening within, I would say, within like an hour. All this perfect storm of everything that popped up.
What's this person, Crump?
Well, Randy has a story. He says, so at Ichiban Con 3, and Vic was about to have his panel, and all of a sudden, it seemed like 300 fangirls came running my way. He says, I'm a big guy, but 300 fangirls are just going to walk right over you. After they ran over me, Vic came out of nowhere, picks me up, and then signs my program. He's a very good guy. Doesn't care what anybody says. Absolutely. That's funny. That's hilarious.
That sounds like that's. I can almost vision like an anime cartoon. Here's this one lonely individual in the sea of girls. Just it's like, oh God, help me! It's like, ah.
That's so funny. Well, I have an interesting story. So, truth or consequences here for the chat. Anybody out there that's listening, now or later, in the comment section or in the chat right now, you guys can let me know if this story is true or false. All right. So, number of years ago, there's a little convention in the region, not the region, I guess, like the region of Canada, I would say. Okay. Is our region, not in the States. This is a Canadian convention. So there was a convention. It was fairly popular, a fairly sizable convention. Now the owner of said convention kind of got in a bit of a tiff with people. It was known for kind of pushing his weight around in the community, et cetera, et cetera. And again, I'm changing names and genders and pronouns and everything so to protect the quote unquote innocent. So
some of the stories,
yeah,
people in the story have to change.
Exactly. So the con owner, of course, is known for pushing his weight around and everything else like that, and blah blah. And lots of different stories have come out about this person, good and bad. You know, everyone generally blames anything that goes on this person, just like just jokingly, right? If it rains that day, they're like, oh, it's this person's fault, you know, blah blah blah. So now a source very very close to this individual, and like a bunch of rumors popped up about this individual, was that now a number of years ago the convention had to quietly change ownership, quietly change hands. And the reason behind this was because apparently, allegedly, this convention owner was embezzling funds from the convention and racketeering with them. And you can see Gippy's face. Apparently, this convention owner was racketeering funds, embezzling funds from the convention to do so, and in order to avoid getting charged or having charges brought against him, quietly agreed to hand over the convention to the board of governors and walk away, and never, like, basically not have anything to do with this convention ever again. And this person is now actually on another convention's high governing board. So that's that's one of my stories. True or false, chat?
Well, let me just jump in there. I cannot possibly see that happening, especially if this is a Canadian convention.
I'm going to exit that as well.
Heaven forbids, somebody has the audacity to do something like that. Just imagine what the backlash would be towards his individual's reputation
and subsequent conventions that are harboring that individual.
Well, exactly. Well. Just imagine if this person was an upstand individual in the community, making sure that this left-wing agenda is being looked after, everything else like that, and everyone has so much faith in this individual. Just imagine the backlash from that. So, Crumb, I know you're a great storyteller because we've been friends for quite some time. But however, I see through this ruse, and I got to tell you, this can't be true, because if it is, my goodness gracious, because remember, my good friends, on an offhand comment, I told an individual to eat an external male organ, and just imagine the backlash I got from that. Something like that. Whoo!
I'm gonna
as Jeremy would say, that'd be spicy.
Well, we have two people in the chat saying it's true, and we have Mr.
Okay.
Hop and we have Phoenix saying X to doubt that it's false.
Here's why I say X to doubt. I mean, mobsters and anime, come on. What's gonna be like, hey, Tone,
exactly.
Hey, Tone, look at these anime titties over here, eh? Oh, fucking A.
Also, it's a Canadian convention, so you know the money has to flow.
And I'm sorry for any Italians that pissed off my terrible impression. I just thought it'd be probably funny.
That was a pretty bad with the accent, eh?
Okay, that's just a stereotype. Mine at least has some Italian element in it.
Well, Gippy, what do you have to say? What do you think?
Well, here's the thing. You've got all of these conventions in North America saying that they're not for profit. And we've covered this 2 months ago, how cons use the term not for profit and as a badge of honor, thinking that they're morally above those conventions that are for profit. But none of these not for profit conventions release their finances. I know Anime Expo used to do it until a couple of years ago. I don't know why they stopped doing it. Maybe because now it's become such a huge thing. They want to hide their finances or whatever. But after seeing what can happen behind the scenes in certain conventions, I would say that it's quite plausible that this story is true. It's quite plausible.
Maybe.
I know it could be false. I know it could be false, but if there's truth, then there'd better be some evidence to back it up. But in this case of cancel culture, I know embezzling funds from a convention isn't as heinous as, let's say, a rape allegation or whatever. But people will choose a side very quickly on these things, right?
Yeah, just imagine the rules that this had to break in the process from all this. Hey, Crumb?
I can just imagine what it would be like knowing that and then hiring that individual for another convention.
Oh yeah.
How irresponsible would it be for the other convention, right?
Yeah, you're 100% there, bud. Like, when it really comes down to it, think about it. If this took place, and the thing is that this person was running, let's say, a medium to small size convention, and then somehow they took advantage of other people's generosity and they got involved in a larger convention, that's like letting a fox in an egg factory. You know what I mean? Not a hen.
I mean, it's an egg
factory. Like,
well, just as we're talking in hypotheticals, what if this individual was working with the larger convention the entire time?
Oh, I'm hoping this person's not working for a non-for-profit convention, because heaven forbids that'll be just completely scoundrelous in every way, shape, and form.
That term means nothing to me anymore.
Oh no, true. I was saying if just imagine, because again, if this could let's say this convention was non-for-profit and they're very proud of this and they advertise a lot, and the reason why they're advertising is saying, hey, you know what? If you go to a profit event, that's okay. But you know what? Since we're since we are a non-for-profit, when you spend your money with us, it's going to a good cause and stuff like that. And then you get this individual involved with the finances of that.
Maybe we should stop calling it convention.
Very immature. Very, very poor decision.
Well, it seems to be very irresponsible. Absolutely. It's
completely. Just imagine, Crumb. Just imagine if that happened at an our event initiative. Oh my goodness gracious! Like, people would just go mental on us for years. How embarrassing!
How embarrassing indeed.
Mm-hmm.
My goodness.
Fiction has to be fiction.
I have a terrible pun for you guys.
What's that, bud?
Stop calling them conventions. Are called proventions. If they're stealing stuff. This is why Crumb drinks.
Yeah. Goodness gracious.
All right.
Yeah.
We have another little story.
Oh, that's
I
cool.
guess. So this one I guess is a bit more salacious. Just a bit more salacious.
Sounds delicious.
So let's talk about rumors about cosplay, shall we?
Okay.
Because this is what we're talking about, right? Because there's a bunch of this is a lot of the stuff that we're and there's a reason. There's a reason why I want to talk about this, right? Because it's been brought up in the Vic lawsuit many times that there's a broken staircase and whatever else, right? There's this bullshit. Oh, these were rumors that everybody knew. Everybody knew these rumors.
Rumors and indications.
So that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about a little bit about the well-known rumors in the community, right? We're going to talk about the well-known rumors in the community. So this one's going to be about cosplayers. Okay. So
all right, cool.
Let's just say that there was a cosplayer that was very feeling themselves, right? Very confident, very very affluent, very
ego.
Well known. Ego, very well known in the community.
Yeah.
This person, is very very strong spoken about their rights and about this and that, whatever else, and very promiscuous.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Just be 1 second, sorry.
I know it is.
Where'd Crumb go?
Crumb's back. Bring something I didn't want to get.
Is it Mars Girl?
The chat.
Is it Mars Girl?
So very promiscuous in the community. Shacks up with apparently a person that was already in a relationship, allegedly in an open relationship, but you know how that goes.
All right, yeah.
Especially within the cosplay community. Shacks up with a person in the cosplay community who's allegedly in a relationship. They bump uglies, and
you mean they had sex? Oh my goodness gracious!
I know, unheard of.
I think we just broke the 18 viewing on YouTube here.
And they had an indiscriminate amount of time goes by, and the person that is not the subject that I started talking about, the other person,
all right,
calls out this other individual as being, a sexual predator, a quote unquote Harvey Weinstein of the cosplay community.
Really?
Yeah.
My goodness gracious. Just imagine being called a Harvey Weinstein. I think that person could go batty after a while. Goodness gracious. Yeah.
They go nuts.
Batman?
Well, sky's the limit on this one.
Their parents,
where are we going?
Their parents didn't get killed by a gangster, so let's just say.
Yeah. A gangsta.
And here you go making fun of my mobster accent. Come on, buddy.
So how? So I mean, this is a story that happens all the time, right?
Yeah.
So you have this individual that gets called out by the cosplay community, that gets destroyed by the cosplay community. Blah 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 blah, to the point where
that sounds really,
it's
really heavy. I feel bad for this person.
Yeah. And so the person, I know who you're talking, it could literally be anybody.
Exactly.
It's Lady Phoenix.
Who's this?
I know who you're talking about. So this individual is basically at the end of their rope. Says that they're going to off themselves in Minecraft, self-delete, everything else like that. They have a group of friends who is one of another Phoenix. That's Phoenix.
There's two Phoenix.
They have a group of friends that just happens to have an event initiative, and no other event initiative in the area will have them back because of these rumors.
That's cool. I'm glad to see this person has some good people that they could go to and lean on and talk to.
And so they lean on these people, and these people give this person a space to come back to, a space to rebuild. They defend this person, etc., and refute the claims from this individual because there was no proof or evidence. It was just a situation of, well, I didn't like what happened, so blah blah blah. And after all of this and building this person back up and bringing them back from the brink of everything else like that, months go by. I guess maybe years go by. I don't know.
Sometime
in this possibly fictional story.
Yeah.
And when push comes to shove, this event gets bigger. They grow. They get
that's cool.
They get more people on their team, and they invite somebody who was in a similar boat to that individual.
Really? Oh my goodness gracious!
They get a guest.
Okay.
They get a guest going to their show that was in the same boat, where they were accused of being a predator, where they were accused of all these nasty things, and people were trying to delete them off the face of the earth.
Oh.
They invite this person, and lo and behold,
what happened?
This individual, that had been in that very same predicament, turns his back on that event initiative.
What's
and joins the mob.
What ungrateful son of a bitch would cowardly move do something like that?
So and then it became Game of Thrones.
Exactly.
So it basically, to save face within the cosplay community, I'm guessing, because there really is no other motive behind it. Because now this person's been welcomed back into the community to a point. They're going back to events and blah 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 blah. So now they have to turn their nose up and join the hate mob against other individuals who are in their situation. So true or false story?
Well, I'm gonna say true because I see this stuff happen all the time.
Well, go on, Phoenix. Sorry, I'm jumping.
Sorry, Hop. I didn't mean to talk over you.
Okay.
Fan Expo, where I am, happens all the time, especially within our cosplay community over here. It is, who can I step on to get up further in the social circles? And it's, in reality, I know too well. I don't cosplay anymore because of it.
Well, I have to say that can't possibly be true, because here in Ontario, we always look after each other's best interests.
No, that's definitely a lie. and definitely a lie.
I mean,
exactly.
That's not even a joke.
The story is obviously, fabricated. But the thing is that, in Ontario here, we like to look after each other, making sure that, again, each other's, best interest is formally in mind and stuff like that. And at the same time here, there's a lot of goodwill and commodity among all the other brands that are out there. And I don't know, Crumb, I have to tell you, I don't see that happening in Ontario. Over in BC, of course, no problem.
Thanks for doxing me, Hop.
Yeah, no, I didn't say Phoenix behind that, did I?
You said in BC.
Yourself.
You just doxed yourself, moron.
This is why
this
is why I don't have 21 rum and cokes before I start a stream.
There you go. So I don't see this happening in Ontario at all. So obviously false.
What's your opinion?
Okay, well, I was out for a minute or so just to do something, so I didn't get the entire story, but I think I heard enough to... I think, like with all cosplay story drama, there's elements of truth and there's elements of people just exaggerating things, as as we obviously see in the Vic Mignogna case. A little touch on the shoulder turns into sexual assault, or
exactly
on the lips is rape. So I think with these type of stories, there is an element of truth to them, but the but one of the parties is so offended and they want to get people to their side that they'll just keep embellishing things. It's sort of like a game of banana phone. You tell someone one thing and then they just add something to it, and then as the gossip goes around and around, more and more outrageous things get added until the story becomes completely unbelievable, even though probably the initial story had elements of truth to it. So there's always these things with a grain of salt, because in today's cancel culture, when people are coming out, the Me Too movement and all that, the first snap reaction you want to take is, oh, just completely believe survivors, believe everything they have to say, because why would they lie about it? But memories are very, very hazy. This is why, to prevent anyone from making allegations against me at anime conventions, I record all of my events, so that when someone alleges something against me, I'm just, I have the receipts, I have my recorded footage, and, you can just use this to compare. So that's my take on it.
So wait a second, you haven't answered the question. You danced around it quite nicely. True or not true? That was excellent, by the way.
I'm lawyering
on, man. So
many people are saying true. I'm going to have to go against the grain and say false, just for the sake of it.
Awesome. We're both on the same aspects. Perfect. Excellent.
Lovely.
You know what? I you know me. I've got the cottage cheese brain syndrome going on, and I remember, so some stories too. Again, I'll put this through the truth or non-truth aspect of things. What I heard is that, again, getting back to the cosplay community, I heard there was this convention initiative that's been around for a little while here in Southern Ontario. So we're not, dox anyone in BC. And basically, this initiative, really, really tries really hard to basically give people a platform to showcase their wares or their brand, if you will. And of course, this particular event initiative was working with this one cosplayer for quite some time. And they had a really good relationship. Not the best of relationships, because the thing is that, in all relationships, you get your peaks and you get your valleys. And the thing is that this is just happens within time, but there was always mutual respect going back and forth and stuff like that. But this convention really went out of their way to make sure this particular cosplayer, because he did a lot of charity work in the general area, put them on the front cover of the program guide, basically put them on the poster on multiple of years, really look at all the work this individual has done, did a whole bunch of media crossover and promotions and stuff like that. And there was always, and every time the convention always went up, this person says, everything okay? And of course, this cosplayer basically says, oh yeah, everything's fine, not a problem. And then all of a sudden, and this is kind of funny, Crumb, this convention invites an individual that's not quite, how can we say, sociably acceptable in certain social circles. And then all of a sudden, this individual just decides to say they took advantage of him after years and years of a relationship. And of course, this individual had no problem speaking his mind when it came down to anything negative or taking advantage of anything else like that. So, yeah, what do you guys think? Do you think this is a story that really happened or it didn't happen?
And that's tough to say.
I think you're a better liar than Crumb. False.
Yeah, I know what? You got me. You got me. No, you got me. It's complete falsehood, because why would someone do something like that after a convention, especially the people who work with this individual for many, many years, take advantage of someone's generosity like that? That's really low character.
I was 50-50 on it, because, again, I've heard stories similar to this.
Oh, yeah.
Like Crumb, I won't dox anyone. I have them on my own self. A buddy of mine invited a girl over from the United States up here.
Mm-hmm.
And they great guy, very generous, paid for the tickets, paid for her hotel room because she wasn't comfortable staying in his place. Went the whole 9 yards. And had found out the entire time that not only did she go to the convention, she gave the tickets to someone else she knew up here and went off to go drink with other friends she had up here instead of go to the convention. Broke the guy's heart. They never saw each other. They never saw each other again, obviously, but did damage enough to the guy where he didn't help anyone else or do anything like that for anyone. So I guess the East Coast has more of a kinder flavor than the West Coast.
I guess I don't know.
I mean,
I don't think you've been to Toronto yet.
I've actually been to your airport. Hate it. I've been to that's a lie. I've been to Aurora, Ontario. I never been. I went to but that was with Via Rail though. I didn't fly into Toronto. I went to Toronto, connected to go to Texas, but your airport sucks. That's all.
Yeah, the Toronto cosplay community would like to have a word with you.
Yeah, privately, by yourself. Leave your cell phone at home.
Well, if I go missing, Phoenix Orem, you know where to find me.
So here's another true or false story.
Okay.
Because we're talking about the Toronto cosplay community, so why not? So there is rumors that the Toronto cosplay community has a kind of a death grip over the cosplaying scene in Ontario as a whole. To the point where if a cosplayer is invited to a convention or whatever else, or cosplayers that have been invited to quote unquote wrong conventions, get physically threatened. They get physically threatened with violence and with excommunication from the cosplay community. And you know, they get threatened saying that their brands are going to get damaged and they're never going to get into X event or blah blah blah. So tell me, panel and chat and comments, is there a ring of truth to this, or is that completely false?
For context, are you talking about someone famous, like on Instagram, or just
no? Correct me if I'm wrong here, Crumb. You're saying that the Toronto cosplay community would be that forward and tell other cosplayers if they go to the incorrect or the not so step in line conventions that they will be kicked out of other conventions?
It would be deleted.
Deleted. I gotta tell you, Crumb, you just like me are a fantastic storyteller. I don't see the Toronto community do anything like that, especially, you know, with all the wonderful stuff they do. Like they go out, they pick up garbage, they basically help sick kids' hospitals, you know, stuff like that. Just imagine if Toronto cosplaying scene was like a piece of fruit. It's really nice on the outside, but it's rotten at the fucking core. that would be wow.
Well, let's just stick to the true or false. Phoenix?
Oh, sorry. So false.
Because of what someone has told me in the past, I'm going to say true.
No.
I mean, I've heard a few things from certain servers about this community, so definitely true.
Gippy, your thoughts?
I'm going to say true, and I'm going to say true because I've read I read the fallout when Vic was invited to KCC and all the posts therein.
Vic Miranda was invited to Kitchener Comic-Con?
Yeah. I'm not 100% certain because I don't know what your I don't organize the convention. You guys do, but I don't know the tentative guest list. I only know the final guest list. But I would wager a guess that some cosplayers had to pull out of your convention because you invited Vic, and because those cosplayers received threats and blacklist threats.
My goodness, I don't know how someone could be more on the nose.
Are we
sure that we didn't have Gippy working for us?
I don't know. Do we run a Crumb? Do we run conventions? It's I don't know. I don't know.
I know it's not people just in the cosplay community. We won't get to this later, but people all the way from California said that they were going to boycott your con.
Yes, they did.
Wait a second. Wait a second. Hold on. So let me get this straight. There were people from California, Texas, Minnesota, basically saying they wouldn't come to a little nothing burger convention in Kitchener, Ontario. Really? I
mean, Belt says otherwise.
Oh, it's like I'm from Australia. Totally going to fly over to KCC, but now that I've heard this news, I'm going to save myself $2,000 on the plane ticket and not go.
I mean,
if there was a couple Canuckleheads putting on a con, and people from Australia, I won't going to make the flight over because it's they got Rick Moana showing up.
That for one, that's Australian. That's English. And you should feel terrible.
I'm sorry. What was that?
I said that's English, and you should feel terrible.
Well, I do.
I mean, they're English friendly, but
that's bad, and you should feel bad.
Don't encourage it, please. I thought my accents were bad.
No, my accents are on point.
I'll give you that. Your lemon voice is pretty good.
It's true.
I would second that. I've got another one.
Sounds good.
Got another one. All right. So basically, is this true or false? Once upon a time, there was this convention initiative that works really, really hard in the general community, and there was this private individual that decided to work with them. And basically, this convention or event initiative, if you will, is involved with doing food drives, and at the same time raising money for breast cancer research and donating money towards the Canadian Health Association, stuff like that. Like a bunch of good things that conventions don't have to do, but this initiative decided to tackle this type of stuff because they just want to better their community. So this person works with them for quite some time, and then all of a sudden one day, this is going to be shocked and amazed by a lot of people. There was a misunderstanding, and of course, the person who was a little bit private decided to no longer work with this initiative, which is understandable. But of course, the people who ran this initiative wanted to sit down with the person, talk things over and stuff like that, and the individual bounces back and tells them they have nothing to do with them anymore, and basically the person takes us a step further and says, don't contact me, don't talk to me directly and indirectly, and just leave me alone, and you could go to hell. When you go to hell, you die. Stuff like that, which is very immature of this individual, but wishes were expected and stuff like that. But that person decides to start doing a lot of digging and trying to find as much accusations against these people as much as he could. And the funny thing is, this wasn't just 1 year or a year. This is like years and years and years and years. The point that he's just jumping at shadows and stuff like that, and just really not just hurting his own reputation in the process, but trying to tear down that same event initiative so they can't move forward and they become crippled under their own weight. So it's like to the point of obsessiveness, if you know what I mean. But again, what do you guys think? Is this a true story or a false story?
Before I give my answer, did I apologize at least?
Mm-hmm.
Then true. Canadians always apologize.
It's true. Canadian apologize.
No, I'd say plausible. I mean,
plausible.
Right. Knowing the amount of people, like knowing the people that are in this community, I'd say it's plausible.
Hmm.
So we've got a true, a plausible.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to go with false just to even things out. I mean, I think it could happen in the States. Right?
Yeah.
The States,
Yeah.
they're very vindictive. I know.
Oh.
There's some.
I asked if they apologized.
Yeah.
Oh, did he apologize? Sorry. No, I apologize. Of course, this person hasn't apologized. But however, I'll come to the crux of the situation. The story is false. Reason being is that why would someone be that obsessive for 6 years going after?
You can't tell people if the story is true or false.
Oh, sorry.
Spoilers.
Sorry.
Yeah, Hop.
I
Screwed
it
at the end of the show, right?
No, I'm sorry.
It's like a quiz.
It is. It's the cottage cheese brain syndrome, my God. I apologize, but no, it's okay. It's completely false. I was just making it up completely because you're absolutely correct.
So Hop was just reading the show title. He had cheese stuck in his head.
pretty much. Because again, who would do that for years and years and years and come up with nothing? Yeah, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess we're about halfway through the show. I guess we can start digging in a little bit because we've given some stories for people to chew on and think about. We can dig into a little bit about the what happened between Kitchener Comic-Con and Anime North.
Lead into this because it was this is a recap. I'm just going to quickly in under 5 minutes or so recap what we covered 2 months ago, and some people might not watch that one. So
hey, I got the timer running. So
yeah, I was I was here on this podcast 2 months ago. It was supposed to be the weekend of Anime North, but because of COVID-19, it didn't happen. So we told all of our stories about how I first went to Anime North in 2003 as a fan, eventually became staff, and then in about 2010 did the staff duties, and then had an unceremonial exit in 2018. And Mr. Hop, just chime in here. When did you start and when did you leave? Do you remember?
Oh, goodness gracious. Jeez. That was a very long time ago. I want to say... Fuck.
Just for timeline's sake. I mean,
no. Hold on. Just give me a second. I want to say 2003, 2005, around there.
Yeah.
It was basically my time was living in Mississauga because that's when I first found out about Anime North on television and stuff like that.
Yeah. And when did you leave?
I left about 5-7 years later.
Yeah.
So basically, it's around the same time when I started EMC. So that joining EMC. So that was about 12 years ago. Subtract 2 because I had a good relationship with the AN guys back then. So 10 years ago from today. So I left around 2010-ish. So yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay.
Again, just rough numbers. Just rough numbers.
Yeah. So at the beginning, Anime North was actually a really good con. We spent the first hour, it was a 3-hour podcast. We spent the first hour singing AN's praises about how good the convention was and why it wanted to lead me to become staff in the first place. I shared a bunch of programs, little tidbits. I talked about the concerts I went to because back then they actually had Japanese anime guest of honor concerts back then. And then we said that the anime industry crashed sometime in 2008, and after that crash, it was also coincided with the great economic recession because of the subprime mortgage. But because of that, something happened to Anime North, and they started to cut everything. And it was just these small little changes at first that I showed, and then eventually they removed the staff list from the program. Then they removed the program. So it was just a huge downturn. And I was on staff around this time, so I kept doing my game shows just out of obligation because there were a lot of fans who came to Anime North just to watch my game show. So, I knew what was going on, but I had to keep my mouth shut. Otherwise, they'd remove me. But the final straw was that in 2018, I held a panel, and anyone who knows me knows that I like to plan everything out. I planned this panel to be exactly 50 minutes, and they didn't give me 50 minutes. And I recorded this panel, and they kicked me, my fellow panelists, and the entire audience out before the 50 minutes were up. And that was ridiculous. And because of that, I told them that I'm not going to work at your convention anymore because you absolutely disrespected what I did and everything I gave to the convention.
Yeah.
So I left Anime North. In 2019, I joined International Fan Festival Toronto, which is a great con. They had to obviously cancel this year, but they'll be back next year. And at the end of that podcast, that was where we ended. But that was 2018. Stuff happened between that time and now, which is what we're going to cover, which is the sequel.
Exactly.
4 minutes, 30 seconds. You did good, kid.
All right. So here's what's happened. Before we get to the KCC stuff, all right? At the end of Anime North 2019, now I did not go to Anime North 2019. However, some people did. Most importantly, Jamie Markey went to Anime North.
Oh boy!
And so this was during the Vic Mignogna lawsuits and all, and there was an incident that happened at Anime North 2019. Now, I'm not a good liar, so everything I'm going to tell you is true to my knowledge. So we're not even going to play this truth or consequence again.
Were you the one who was tossed out for yelling at Jamie?
Yeah. So apparently during the Jamie Markey panel, someone confronted Jamie Markey about everything that was going on. And that person was escorted out and banned from the convention, or kicked from the convention. I don't know if that person was banned yet. But that started a lot of talk on the social media, especially the unofficial Anime North Facebook group. Now, from here on out, I'm going to shorten that to UAN because I'm not going to say that over and over. So there's a lot of talk on UAN about it.
There you go.
And so that planted the seed of all the bad vibes that were going to come later.
Oh yeah.
Now,
was it you that yelled at Jamie Markey?
What?
I said, was it you that yelled at Jamie Markey?
No, I told you I was not at Anime North 2019. Why would I go to a convention?
Come on, Phoenix. Come on, Phoenix. You just stated that.
I was not going to give my money there to the convention. Now, obviously, how Anime North's laid out is that you can pretty much hang around the outside of the convention and not pay for a pass, but like, why would I want to do that? I'm not really a cosplayer. I'm not that type of person. But here's where it starts. At the end of Anime North 2019. Now I've got receipts here. So this is gonna be, so
hopefully they're returnable.
I will share my screen and show you because all of these posts are public. None of these are private posts. So all of these are public posts. There was a small convention in Toronto called KimiCon. And KimiCon was a new con that was about to happen later that year. They already had 1 year in them. But KimiCon had a booth at Anime North. And KimiCon, in order to promote their convention, had this deal where if you bought a KimiCon pass, you would get a full-sized art of a piece of art from their official artist for the convention, who was Sakimi-chan. And Sakimi-chan is one of the largest Patreon anime artists out there.
Very cool.
Has about 500,000. I don't think 500,000. Over 100,000 subscribers, I believe. So she makes a lot of bank, and she's well known within the Patreon community for her anime art.
Okay.
Now, other people in the artist alley got wind of this, and they got pissed because they saw this as the convention selling the art by proxy because if you got the pass. So what happened after the con was that, in a sense, because Anime North is a large con and KimiCon is a small con, the very first time this has happened, Anime North outed them on social media and publicly announced that they were banned. Now, I'm going to show you that. I don't know if you let me share screen.
Yeah,
I don't know how I can share screen here.
Should
I'm
be
just going to share screen, and then you can tell me whether or not it'll show. Sharing is a...
And you can choose tab or whatever.
Oh, I can choose tab. Okay, I can choose that. So I'm going to show you the... not this one. I'm just going to show you...
Because we don't want to see your internet history.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm going to...
Shut the porn panels down.
No, I put everything in a specific folder, right?
Oh, good.
So you've got this, and I'm going to see it's this here, and then share. Did that work?
Ta-da!
Yes, it did. It did work. It's not even. It's not. So as you can see there, we have been made aware that contrary to Anime North policies and to their obligations under their exhibitor contract, KimiCon was selling fan art by an artist not registered to sell at ANO 2018 in the Gaming Vendors Area Hall. That organization will no longer be allowed to participate at any future Anime North events indefinitely. So you think this is the end of it, right? But the thing is that KimiCon then invited Anime North to have a table at their convention. And you're wondering, why would a convention ever do that? They just got banned. KimiCon invited them. Well, this was their response to that. I'm going to go here. Do you see that?
Public? And this is public?
Yeah, this is public. This is a public post. As the volunteer coordinator, I can say that Anime North had their own table at KimiCon. This was a couple months later when KimiCon happened in September, and arrived late Friday evening. I assumed many exhibitors arrived later on Friday because there would be a low turnout. Blah, 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 blah. I also understand there was a misunderstanding at Anime North and that they made a gesture to ban us from their con indefinitely. It has also come to my attention that this banning happens rather often, even though there are many more important things they let slide at the dealer's room. We at KimiCon try our best not to hold petty grudges so that, as with all exhibitors, artists, and guests, we were very welcoming towards Anime North, regardless of the past decisions they have made. We try our best to treat everyone with respect at KimiCon with no exceptions. So this was a 4D move by them. It just showed that they're better people, and that even though Anime North banned KimiCon, Anime North still decided to go to their convention.
Oh God! Okay, I'll put it together.
Welcome them with open arms. How about that?
How embarrassing!
Kippy, your homework folder is showing.
What?
Your homework folder is showing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, homework folder. Yeah, but the thing is that I collect after leaving Anime North, I collected screenshots like these. I have a lot more than these, but it's because the public statements that Anime North makes, some of them are so ridiculous and insane. It's just wondering how it gets by the executive staff. Do they okay these posts and so on and so forth? Now, one thing about Sakimi-chan, I'm gonna go into the social justice part of this here. A lot of artists do not like Sakimi-chan for the reason that she draws what most people perceive as attractive figures. They are in shape. They are big bosomed. They are,
Scott Campbell.
What people say is the male gaze. It attracts the male gaze and the female gaze as well because she also draws men. So she had a tutorial one time about how to draw plus-sized figures. Okay. And then when she put up that tutorial, all the plus-sized people started attacking her because they said that the models were not plus-sized enough. Oh, and you can bet that was a factor into getting KimiCon banned from this convention because there's a number of artists who don't like her artwork. And what do you think about that?
She's not SoCal Arts.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? It's like you see this in the comic book industry as well, right? This backlash against attractive, physically fit superheroes, and now they want to
of the female variety, because there's a double standard that's going on. Males, no problem at all. Females, can't do that.
I know there was this meme. There was this advertisement for this new comic, and they had these characters called like Safe Space. Did you hear about that one?
Oh God, New Warriors.
Oh yeah, that one got crushed.
No, that's the New Warriors relaunch they came out with, and the thing is that
it ended as fast as it started.
Oh no! It gets even better, because here's kind of what happened. The new New Warriors relaunch that's take place has disappeared. It's like nowhere to be seen, because again, a whole bunch of communities came out and said this is bad representation. This is absolutely horrible. What are you guys doing? So forth and so forth. The comic never even went to print. It got immediately not canceled, removed quietly. We're talking like, let's bring old Yeller behind the tool shed and put a 45 bullet in its head. That type of quiet.
Or someone got fired and they went missing for a while.
Oh no, not fired. Just erased.
No. Fired. Look at the context.
Deleted leaves a body. When you get erased, there's nothing there.
Fired. Look at the connotation. Went fired and went missing. Think about it.
Oh yeah. No, I got you.
No, that whole. I was a comic book fan and someone who's very passionate about comics, especially Marvel. That made me cry. I drank half a bottle of rum that night.
Oh Jesus.
I'll stop sharing for now.
Sharing is caring. Share more, please.
What else I have here? Oh yes. Okay. So during Anime North 2019, there was a Japanese. Well, there was a MAID act. They're not Japanese. They're actually local, but they're a MAID act, and they perform dances. So what happened was that their event went a little over time due to I guess setup times or such.
And
so
it happens.
So what it happens. But the thing about it is that when you're hosting an event like that, you still have to treat the event with respect, right? Well, Anime North put out a really nasty tweet that kind of made fun of them for being maids, a maid act. So I'm going to show you this one. Okay.
Oh my goodness.
So this one here, it's I'm going to share that.
Is this the escort maid service that was going to cons? If I remember correctly.
Okay. So Anime North retweeted, Anime Hell is going to be like 20 minutes late due to unforeseen dancing maids. And so the fans of Act 102 became quite upset at this tweet because Anime North retweeted it. And so someone replied, retweeting this is not the most professional way to announce a delay when said dancing maids were forced to reschedule 2 events only hours before they acted due to Anime North management errors. So again, it's because Anime Hell is a much larger event than Act 102 at Anime North. Anime Hell has been there for many, many years.
Just since the conception almost.
And the person who manages Anime North is quite high up there on the hierarchy. I don't believe he is an executive, but he knows the executives very well, and so he gets his own. He gets whatever he gets to schedule whatever
executive treatment.
He gets executive-like treatment, right? So this is the type of behavior that passive-aggressive behavior that really turned me off. It's that they favor certain events over others. And the thing is, they have all the time in the world to apologize for these type of tweets, but they never apologize, right? for the KimiCon banning, they have not made a statement about that since. And for this, they haven't made a statement about this. And the thing is, they make these posts and they hope that it gets shoved down 1 week later and everyone forgets about them, which is why I save these posts, because eventually you get enough of these posts so that, wow, what's going on? This is the type of behavior they promote. Yeah. So I'm just going to see if I have one more before we go on to KCC. Sure. So everyone knows that the official Anime North Facebook group is run by the executives, and people are afraid to hope. Well, yeah, who would have thought? But the thing is, people are afraid to actually say what they really want to say, because if they say what they want to say and it's not in favor of Anime North, they're going to get banned from the official group. So what happens instead? The staff come over to UAN and ask for feedback. And come on, like they do.
Wow. I don't mean to jump in here, but this is the very first time I've actually heard about this.
It's because
really amazing.
Because Eileen was name dropped 2 months ago, I'm going to actually mention her here, the director of programming, Eileen McAvoy. If you post on the official Anime North Facebook group and Eileen doesn't like your post, it gets deleted and it gets banned. She does not have power on UAN, which is why.
I'm sorry. You know what? I totally misunderstood you. I thought you said that the executives run UAN.
No.
So, okay. My apologies.
UAN, they run the official one, which is why other staff
cool.
post on UAN, and it's pretty funny because there's way more activity on UAN than the official group. So there's that.
Hey, Gippy, can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
I've heard from sources that this is why I asked about the escort maid service. I heard that the maid cafe, some of the higher ups were using the girls that volunteered as escorts during the con. Is that true or false?
I would have absolutely no idea. I will say no comment about that because I don't know any of Act 102 personally. I'm not their friend. Haven't really communicated with them, so
this is not the dancing maids. This is their maid cafe that they had.
I know them. I know the maid cafe. During my tenure there, I never ever heard of anything like that.
Are you talking about Cafe Delish or Cafe Nocturne? Because there's two different cafes. The Cafe Delish is
what's the wrong at the DoubleTree?
That was Cafe Delish. Cafe Nocturne is the more it's the one where they dress up as host club people, whereas the Cafe Delish is the maids.
Yeah, I've got no idea. I haven't heard anything like that at all.
No idea. I'm not friends or communicate with any of the Cafe Delish or Cafe Nocturne people. I had a nasty encounter with one of the Cafe Nocturne people, but I did not. I do have the screenshot somewhere, but that will be for another time because
And though it heard some dark things where the maid cafe girls had an option, if you're a really good customer, to have some service with them that wasn't on the menu, if you know what I mean.
I would have no idea about that. But...
Well, that sounds like a story for people, true or false, in the chat.
There you go. There we go. False one. That is
I wasn't looking into a true or false one. I'm not asking a legit question.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so all of this leads into Kitchener Comic Con.
Oh boy,
here we go, kids. Buckle up.
Now, again, Kitchener Comic Con announces Vic Mignogna, someone who is very angry about Vic Mignogna and about KCC, post about it on UAN. Oh. And then allegations come out. And I'm not going to steer your thunder, so I'm going to let you explain that. I believe you did explain a lot of this in another podcast. I don't know whose podcast it was again, but
feel free to bring them up, and we can. Talk about it.
Your structure with everything is spot on. So please continue.
Yeah. So there is a staff member, the director of security. It's not called security anymore, but I'm just going to public safety. Director of public safety, Tomo Shimizu. He posts on the UAN a lot, simply because again, people are too scared to post on the official AN Facebook group. So he started denying denying the specific allegation that if two vendors, I believe it was two vendors, they were threatened that if they were to vend at KCC, that they would be blacklisted at Anime North. Yeah. And that was what started all of the drama around it, and everyone was discussing it and all that. And this led to a staff email being leaked by someone. Don't know who it is. It led to a staff email being leaked, and where Donald Simmons, the director of operations at Anime North, completely denied all of the allegations, and but he himself would never make a public statement about it. It would be all relayed through Tomo Shimizu. And the thing is that on UAN, everyone jumped to AN's defense, and people called KCC liars. Yeah. And they said that that it was a real life truth or consequences situation, whereas half the people, well, not half, let's say a third of the people said it was true, and then 2/3 of the people said it was false, because those people read Anime North's response and assumed that because Anime North said it was false, that it was false. So now today, we're gonna get the whole truth out of we're gonna get your side of the story and see what's going on.
Yeah, that was a really tumultuous period. That was very, very interesting, because we had direct contact with two people from Anime North that we did not name, and we never confirmed the name of, that Anime North went on a witch hunt to find. And when they found out, or they thought they found out the two people, or at least one of the persons, they basically named and shamed him on their public social media. And that was a whole slew of nonsense, because then they forced him to make a statement that refuted what he had told us directly, what he had said directly to us. And it wasn't the only sources of that we got. We got told by multiple cosplayers, by multiple guests, the same thing.
So it wasn't all coming from one source. So that was a fun times to go through.
Yeah. But, you have anything more to add on that, Mr. Hutt?
Not really. Everything that needs to be said has been said through it and throughout. So again, it's just interesting how things twist one way, twists another way, and it's like, all right, cool, awesome. And from all of that, Anime North came out and said, hey, we're gonna do a 180. Anyone can go to Kitchener Comic-Con. They're okay.
Now, I want to know for sure, other than the two people who contacted you, did anyone from Anime North contact you? Did Tomo Shimizu contact you? Did any of the executives contact you? Or was just that a whole load of bullshit?
Basically, I spoke briefly with Tomo on DMs, which really didn't go anywhere. Nothing really came of it, because he was basically fishing for who the sources were. He wanted names of who was talking, and I wasn't going to give the names of the sources, because we told them that we weren't here to out people or add to a witch hunt.
So let me get this straight. Usually with a serious matter like this, you would actually do a phone call or do a video teleconference. You wouldn't leave it to, let's say, oh, let's just try to communicate this over email or DMs. They didn't think this was important enough for them to call you directly about it or go on a video call about this.
Yeah, they didn't think it was necessary.
Wow. That shows what their priorities are. I mean, this would be something.
Well, the funny thing is that let's look at our experience today, Ian. does this really honestly surprise you? Your panel got cut off, and you put how much time and trouble into that? Plus, on top of that, let's look at zeros and ones here just for a microsecond. Let's examine why Vic is now permanently guest banned, which is dumb to say.
Quote unquote.
Exactly. From AN. Does anyone know the original reasons why this took place? Like basically what people were saying. Not the real reason, but what people were saying in general. Does anyone know?
Because they said he was a creep.
Oh,
and they
okay,
said
cool.
They said, I believe what happened was.
No. I'm taking this in two steps. Just basically first, what people said, and then we'll get into what happened.
Yeah. Well, they claimed that Vic made too many unnecessary demands about his scheduling.
Okay.
That's what I heard.
Okay. Basically, what I heard is that there was some accusations about him being unprofessional with fans, basically to take the whole Kick Vic movement and basically concentrate it. And that's the reason why AN basically no longer wanted to work with Vic. But from what I heard of is that there was some certain music or certain audio that needed to be set up for Vic's panel. And supposedly information and what needed to be set was done ahead of time. And the thing is that Vic was getting upset because the AV staff simply weren't doing it right, and they weren't congealing to what was asked ahead of time. I heard that was the real reason why Vic got upset, and because of that, he took it. I don't want to say he took his frustrations out, but he certainly let his discontent known. And from that, I heard that's the real reason why AN decided to no longer work with Vic moving forward from that. And the thing is that this stuff happens all the time when it comes to convention work. Plus, on top of that, Anime North, unlike paying for their staff, like what other major conventions do, everyone's a volunteer. So I could see some of the frustrations coming from that. But again, going from what Kick Vic said over to, this is all comes down to technical issues. Incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Could I gotta get going here, but I want to kind of sweeten the mood a little bit of the Vic stuff. I actually have a really good story about Vic that I had encountered as a fan at Fan Expo. So the year 2018, my friend and I are lined up to meet Vic. She's a huge fan of Edward Elric, Full Metal Alchemist, to those who don't watch anime like myself.
Mm-hmm.
So we're standing in line, and she has an anxiety attack. Around people like celebrities, she gets very nervous. She doesn't know how to approach them, how to speak to them. She was getting very flustered and how to sit down, right? So I told my friend, hey, you go sit over there. I'll go talk to Vic for you. Everything will work itself out. So I get to my spot line. I go up to him and say, hey, Vic, my name is Phoenix. My friend over there is having an anxiety attack. Could you come over and say hi? She really mean well to her. Not only does he get behind the table and go to her directly, sits down beside her, talks to her. She starts crying, breaking down. He puts her hand on her shoulder. It's okay. I know these things are nerve-wracking. I think it'll be all right. What would like me to sign for you? He was charging $40 a pop for a signature. Gave the girl the signature for free. Asked permission for a hug, and I can swear and testify to this. Asked permission for a hug. She said yes, she would love it. Gave her a hug over the shoulder kind of thing because she was sitting down. I said, don't worry about it. Everything's gonna be okay. Glad you're a fan. And I said, God bless him. Back to the table. Absolute star of a gentleman. I would say that half the con attendees there would say the same for me as well. Half the con guests would have done that. We had William Shatner. Don't think so. We had Bruce Campbell. Don't think so. And it surprised me it surprised me too, because I didn't think this person would have gone behind the table, no less, and go up to sit down beside a person.
Yeah.
So I want to sweeten the mood a little bit. But I got to take off. I have a few things I need to do. Gippy, pleasure.
Thanks for joining us.
See you later. Be well.
Yeah. Okay. So.
Oh, he's gone. Thank God.
Yeah. So you see the behavior of Anime North bullying smaller cons. First they bully KimiCon, then they bully Kitchener Comic Con, and this is not the type of environment that you want to foster. Like Ontario's small enough, right? This is not the United States where all the major cities are together. Like you have Toronto and you have, Kitchener is 100 kilometers away, and then there's Ottawa, which is a train ride away. There's not too many cities to go to. So if you lose one convention, that's a huge blow. Like you can't go to it. There aren't that many. There's not a lot of competition unless you want to travel a long distance away, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of room for a lot of different events, and the difference is, right, because Americans do have clustered cities and things like that, but they also don't have the competition between the events because they realize that the more events that there are, like the variety, the more populated the events are. Like that's one thing in Canada that we just can't seem to wrap our head around, is that we smash any initiative that pops up because especially in KW, because it's like, well, no, this is new and scary, we don't like it. So we're very, very hard to trust events in this region, which is something that we've kind of worked our way into doing, and why we become so successful as an event in this region. But that scares that scares people in Toronto, because Toronto has been the hub of events for a very, very long time, right? Like look at Toronto, London, Hamilton, Niagara Falls. Like those are the main 4 areas that are quote unquote allowed to have events because one thing or the other. If another event pops up in, say, Burlington or Barrie or something like that, they get destroyed, they get attacked, because those are too close, quote unquote, to these hub cities that have been traditionally having a monopoly over them for so many years. So when an event initiative comes up in Kitchener, Waterloo, because we are so large, like, I mean, we're very sizable as a region, we should be able to have our own identity. We should be able to have our own space and our own stuff. But everyone goes to Toronto, everyone goes to Niagara Falls, everyone goes to Hamilton for events. There's literally no reason as to why they wouldn't be going to events here. But Toronto and their community and people in Toronto and that don't live here, that don't come here, they will go out of their way to attack and destroy anything in our region. And that's been documented. That's been seen.
And there's another reason behind this. Let's look at a little town called San Francisco and San Francisco Comic-Con, one of the largest events within the region of North America. Basically, that one event is basically responsible anywhere between 12 to 15% of the GOP of San Francisco. So if you don't think that Toronto knows the weight of what these larger conventions bring in, especially tourist dollars, attractions, and so forth, don't kid yourself. And if you have like a mini convention, a mini event somewhere, that's okay. Not a problem. But if you start building up your actual base and your foundation, then you start rivaling these other conventions, they basically start losing tourist dollars. And the thing is that, again, there's an article on the Weekly Trending Fandom page that's talking about this as well. And the thing is that San Francisco is feeling the hurt because, as we talked about from earlier, everyone's going, yeah, virtual conventions are cool. Isn't this great? Blah, 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 blah. Here's the fallback from that. There's nobody flying in. There's no one taking the taxi cab from the airport to the hotel, and then from the hotel to the venue area. There's no dollars coming into the independent or shops in general. There's no bookings of major event areas. Like San Francisco's taking a major hit because their Comic-Con is not up and working. And the thing is that people in Toronto know this, and the reason why they know this as well is because we have a very small populace within Southern Ontario. So if you start having conventions that are bigger than them, that impacts that. That impacts a lot.
Yeah.
So.
Last thing I want to add before we move on to the next thing. What I believe is that the executive staff of Anime North and its surrounding close staff they like to staff at multiple conventions. So if they don't, as a collective, do not like your convention, they are going to go out of their way to shame your convention. And so it just like they're not going to go there. They're going to tell their friends not to go there. They're going to shame it, and so on and so forth. And that's the thing. Anime North had such a stranglehold on what an anime convention was. Lots of other smaller conventions came and gone, but it took Anime Revolution, which was from Vancouver, coming all the way here to make their own convention, International Fan Festival Toronto, in order to actually get a new anime convention with relevant content. And even now you have International Fan Festival Toronto having the same convention date as FrostCon, which is more of a party convention, but that's all the way up in Collingwood. But people are saying, why are you holding it on the same weekend, even though Collingwood is even further away from Toronto than Kitchener?
Exactly. Well, let's take a look though, because Anime North likes to do I'll just put this out there. Anime North likes taking advantage of people without officially taking advantage of them. Right? They have people on their staff or on their group or whatever else that they're more than happy to take advantage of their social media accounts. They're more than happy to take advantage of their communities and fan bases and not and not take credit for it. Because if anything goes sideways, then Anime North says, "Oh well, that's just that person." Let's take into account the we run conventions things. Let's look at what the heck was it? Ontario Convention Network, the Canada Convention Network, etc., etc. There was a bunch of, including YetiCon Gazebo.
YetiCon, not FrostCon. Why did I say FrostCon? It's YetiCon.
Okay. In Blue Mountain, including YetiCon Gazebo, and one individual had control of 7 different social media accounts, which all operated as separate entities and presented themselves as separate entities. And they would all carry on the same, the same narrative, right? So when we just started, because I don't have a problem with YetiCon. I mean, Kitchener Comic-Con, as far as I'm aware, we don't have any issues with YetiCon whatsoever.
There is none that I'm aware of, and I'm at the front line of things.
Because YetiCon is like you said, in Collingwood, in Blue Mountain, literally hours away from us, and on a completely different schedule. So why would we clash? But apparently, YetiCon Gazebo, which is apparently renamed or different now, or probably suspended at this point. But this person who ran the YetiCon Gazebo account started lashing out at Kitchener Comic-Con and attacking Kitchener Comic-Con. Same thing with Canadian Convention Network. Same thing with the Ontario Convention Network on multiple different social media platforms. This person also works with Anime North. And when everything went sideways with the YetiCon Gazebo account, with everything else like that, et cetera, Anime North disavowed it. They're like, well, we have nothing to do with this. It's like, actually, no, you do. You have this person who's on your staff, who you're keeping on your staff, who is operating on your behalf in an unofficial capacity, but you're not doing anything about it. You're not speaking up and saying that these are not our views. This is somebody blah 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 blah. It's that's the type of stuff that's going on.
Yeah. And also add a little bit to what you were saying before as well. Here's some of the unwritten rules when Anime North starts coming around. On the surface, when you first work with them, it's wonderful. It's absolutely fantastic. They're there to help you. They're there to support you. They'll do a table swap with you. If you're really working well with the Anime North dynamic, they'll even give you money to help you out with your convention and stuff like that. And there's a lot of convention owners that don't know this because they're just new to the game, but there's older folk like myself that's been around for a while. So basically, picture this, if you will. You're working with Anime North, everything's going great, not a problem. They're there to loan you a cup of sugar if you need it, no problem. All of a sudden, you kind of do something they don't like. And they start pulling that away from you. Because basically it used to be if you wanted to build yourself up, you had to go to Enemy North to get a promotional table. And from that promotional table, you got walk through traffic, you could promote your event, so forth, etc. And not a problem. And then at the same time there, if you needed money to print a program guide, or the case may be, maybe even bring a special big guest in, they're there for you. No problem at all. But start working against the grain, it's kind of weird how they sort of pull the support away from you to become a pariah in the community. I'm using that quotations, of course. And anybody knows on this time and time again, because even to this date, there are several conventions, which I will not name because I have respect for the convention owners from that, and I understand completely where they're coming from, that are willing to bend over backwards for AN to basically push their narrative through, whatever that may be, just to make sure they get their big name guests in, so they're not spending the transportation dollars, the dollars it takes to actually have them in a hotel, their own appearance fees, so forth, and etc. Odd that.
Yeah. One thing I want to add is that when I started being on AN's staff, I had a YouTube channel and I uploaded all of the game shows to the YouTube channel. The YouTube channel started to grow, and as it grew, Anime North made the request that I hand over my YouTube channel to them. They wanted me to relinquish control of the YouTube channel over to them because I did all the work, I edited the videos, and then now they just wanted to take it because it was something established. And it's not really that established. Like, it has 200 subscribers. It's not. I'm going to tell you right off, that big of it. It's not that big, but it has all of my games.
You're kidding me. Sorry for jumping over you. 200 subscribers.
Yeah, you deserve more than that.
Well, it's not subscribe, followers. With subscribers means they pay $5 a month. Followers, okay. But it's like
no, on YouTube it is subscribers.
Yeah, it is subscribers. Okay, but they want to take that away from me because they felt that possibly that I was becoming a loose cannon, and I'm fine with that. I like being a loose cannon because if you just stay in line and stay in your lane, then you're not going to innovate. So they wanted to take control of my YouTube channel, and I told them, no, you make your own channel, and if you want to copy over the game show videos, be my guest. You're not taking my channel. And that, I'm so glad I did that, because now that I've left Anime North, I still have control of my channel. I still have all of my game show videos. I'm not going to be petty and delete the Anime North game show, the game shows I did at Anime North. That's damn petty. I mean, that would just hurt the people who weren't involved in all this drama, the players and the fans. So I've kept my Anime North videos, and I'm not going to cancel them out because I don't work for them anymore. It's something that when I did them, I was very proud of doing them. So that's it. But that's the type of behavior that they exhibit. They invite you, they test your potential, and then they want to control you. And that's the thing. They're very willing to volunteers who put in the hours because, again, it's free labor. That's what the volunteering is, right? That's why
exactly
it will give you the pass if you do a whopping 5 panels compared to 2 or 3 at other conventions.
Well, just let me jump in there for a quick second. The thing is that some usually conventions, depending on where they're coming from, usually uses the gracefulness of volunteers to make their conventions really work out. And the thing is, unfortunately, some conventions can't pay for that. The biggest crutch I have is when a convention starts growing to a certain size and they get certain dollars coming in, because you know this is coming in. It's the individuals that are running the individual departments that are not getting paid, who should be getting paid for their time of trouble, especially the dumping between, let's say, 60 to 125 hours a week into a convention, and they're not getting paid for that. Like, don't get me wrong, I feel for volunteers, but it's the senior staff members that I really feel bad for, because those are the people that really direct the ship. Because the thing is, at the same time here, the top executives can't run the convention by themselves anymore because they just can't do it all because it's just that big. Like, as an example, with me, I was working for them for a very good chunk of period of time, never got paid. And the thing is, I found out that other conventions, such as PAX and stuff like that, people who were in my exact position, they were getting $32K a year. And they were working there for multiple years. And one of the things that drove me nuts is I had to fight and scrap for everything that I got. And I asked for a couple of things that was the base of my relationship with them for our foundation. And at the end of it, they just ran all over that. And I went, this is so disrespectful. Like my last year that was there, like I had to leave on the Sunday of the event. Why? Because I was looking at an illegal eviction. If I didn't find a place, I was homeless. And unfortunately, there was a viewing that came up that was on a Sunday, and I had to leave. Working there for how many years? And I take one day off early, and all of a sudden that started the cascade effect against me. That's not right. At the same time, I told Donald and Eileen this as well. And they said, sure, no problem. Next year I get replaced. Awesome.
Yeah. Well,
and also on top of that, getting back to social media stuff, everyone knows I have a fairly large Facebook page. And the thing is that I built it up from scratch, man. Like absolutely nothing. And the deal that I made with the social media team at that point in time, I said, look, here's the deal in a nutshell. Okay. I will give you executive control over the page. But the thing is that I'll post the entertaining content, you post the actual event content, and we'll keep it like that. How does that sound? And the person that was running the social media at the time said, sure, that sounds great. Not a problem. Awesome. I went through everything that I said I would go through. And of course, the page kept building. But the funny thing is, they never posted any event content on there. But the thing is, the numbers just kept coming in. People are laughing what's going on. Of course, I called it Anime North. And the funny thing is that there was a meeting, I'm not quite sure if you remember this or not, that took place because questions were popping up about who is running the Anime North Facebook page. And I put my hand up and said, well, I'm running that. And I told you guys a while ago. First words of Eileen's mouth, oh, thank God a staff member is running that. Quote me on that. And then after I left the initiative, they said, oh, we want this. I come with, you can pay me for it.
They want to spend the least amount of money possible for
of course
for content. I mean, what they're doing right now, the online convention, I doubt any of the panelists there are getting compensated or so on and so forth. What they're doing right now,
well, and mistake.
Yeah, so
because the thing is that you have to have either the technological, the actual ability to run that effectively, or you got to pay for it.
Yeah, exactly. And they've been cheapskates for a while. When I was running my game shows, they did not want to upgrade the projectors that they bought in the beginning in the early 2000s. Oh. So even right up until 2018, the last year I was there, they were still operating on VGA video connectors. Okay, yeah. VGA was out by 2005 or 2006. Everyone had switched to HDMI by then. But see, the thing is, with laptops...
And on top of that, they also had a great deal with LG as well.
Yeah. You have these new laptops. They don't have VGA connectors anymore. It's all HDMI. So there were several situations where... not me, because I actually had a laptop with dual VGA and HDMI because it was a high-end laptop. But we had another game show staffer who had huge difficulties hosting their game show because his laptop only had HDMI out. And it was frustrating because I wanted to convert my game shows to HD, and I wasn't able to because the projectors can only go sub-HD even then. But
yeah.
That's how cheap they are. They don't want to upgrade their equipment unless necessary. Now, one thing I want, and last topic I want to go, because I'm running out of topics here, is that at the beginning of this year, before the COVID-19 stuff happened, the panel staff changed because the person running the panel staff had been doing it for so many years and so on and so forth.
I know what you're talking about.
They brought in another person. And this person is very inflammatory, and this person's a very nasty person to work with. I'm going to show you one more screenshot showing the types of posts that he posts on UAN about. So I'm going to show one more. Hold on just 1 second. Application window and share. So the new panel's head is.
We lost it.
There we go. Do you see it now?
Yeah, we see it.
Okay, so the new panel's head is named Mark Tian. And,
oh boy.
Do I know Mark from?
Now,
yes,
Mark
Tian
we do. Okay. It's been so long.
Panel's coordinator for Anime North. And this is the type of stuff he posts on UAN. He goes into arguments with people, and he calls them chuckle fucks. And you think,
wow, that's professional.
Right? He's like, aren't you the same chuckle fuck who claimed the dealer's room was empty last year by showing pictures before it even opened? Okay. And this is not the type of post you want to make as representing as staff of Anime North. And to my knowledge, he has not been reprimanded for this behavior. He is still the panel's coordinator. If I see this post, would I want to panel? Would I want him to panel under him, especially when I have to do 5 panels instead of 2 or 3? Absolutely not. So, for anyone who's thinking of paneling at Anime North next year, this is the person you're going to work under, Mark Tian. So, yeah.
It's unfortunately fingers to step off the side because
I would. It's your life. You can do whatever you want. I understand that lesser panelists, Anime North is probably the biggest and best platform they have. But again, you have to understand that one, they can cut.
Wait a second. I want to correct you. They may be the biggest, but they're certainly not the best.
True about that.
Yes.
But yeah, okay, I'll give you that. But
awesome. Thank you. Sorry for interrupting.
Someone who's new to panels, they want the largest exposure.
Of course.
They're going to have to work. They're going to have to work under Mark Tian. And it's your life. You can do whatever you want, but that's the problem, right? This post, if I had not saved it, would have been buried in the depths of Facebook history, only for OCD people such as myself to just search and try to find complete dirt on the convention. And that's why I save these posts, and that's why I post about this, because people have to be made aware of the behavior of certain staffers. And if you don't know, then you're not going to be able to make an informed decision. You think that Anime North is all roses and helpful, and it has no dirt. So,
well, here's a question for you. My brain is not as good as it'll be. What's Mark Tian's background when it comes to convention work? Do you remember offhand?
I believe he used to be the con chair of Con Bravo. Now I have
really. What happened to that?
Because Con Bravo was a general geek and gaming con, and I'm more anime stuff. They didn't have much anime stuff, so I didn't ever went.
It's almost like he disappeared without saying a word. That's really weird. Odd that.
Curious, isn't it?
Ain't it?
Yeah. So I actually have something that we're gonna finish the show on here.
Okay.
We're gonna finish the show on here.
So early today.
It's enough of Mark Tian.
Oh, it's not enough of Mark Tian.
There's more of Mark?
Oh, wait,
so but wait, there's more.
What have we got in the pipes today?
So I'm hoping everyone has tuned in has gotten nice and comfy. So there was a conversation that happened, and I've talked about this a number of times before, right? And I've mentioned some things about Mark in passing. And I've talked about it, but considering that we've brought him up, I think it now is only fitting to drop this DM that I had with him. So now, before I get into this is not the DM that I originally had with him, because He had since deleted the account and I lost the DM. But I had sent this message to Mr. Hop immediately after I had a conversation with Mark. So this is the original conversation that I had with Mr. Hop about a conversation that I had with Mark Chan back in 2015. March 2nd, 2015. This was immediately after Kitchener Comic-Con. This was immediately after Mr. Hop's infamous comment on the internet and the quote-unquote 3 days of hell. This is when I had taken my role as Mr. Hop's manager, his social media manager, and I was addressing stuff for him in regards to people putting shit out there about the convention, putting stuff out there about Mr. Hop, etc., etc., etc. So I had a conversation with Mark Chan because Mark Chan decided to push his weight around. This is the type of individual that he is. This is the type of individual that Anime North allows to be one of the top people in their conventions. So without further ado, let me just pull this up here.
Everyone get their fedora hats on.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy.
So here we go. This is a copied conversation I had. As you can see in the very top here, Mr. Hop. We have the date, which is day, month, year, March 2nd, 2015. And this was immediately after, because you'll see the timestamps. Timestamp was 2025. I sent this message immediately after the conversation I had with Mark. So yeah, mindset equals whatever, way away from keyboard. Away from keyboard. Mr. Hop was in a very poor state.
Oh, yes.
Discussion about that. I don't remember what the Keki cosplay thing was. I'm pretty sure that was something to do with part of the blowback that we were getting from the comments of us putting the thing down saying cease and desist, blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. So conversation started today with Mark P. Chan. Mark says, I think you'd better stop sending messages about legal action. They constitute harassment. And as someone who's been a legal clerk, I can be very clear. You will never, ever win a libel case in civil court unless it's against a media publication. That's not how Canadian law works. So right out of the gates, someone is giving legal advice who's not a lawyer, who's been a quote-unquote legal clerk. So he continues on to say, this is just the extended one here. If you do continue, your actions will constitute a form of harassment, which is not only provable, but has a mountain of people who have now been disturbed. Now I can either have my actual lawyer write you about this, or we can calm this down nice and easy. Ron abusing a member of the community is more legal justification than any libel, quote unquote, you can ever claim. And considering you also posted misleadingly about your legal status, now he's claiming in this that by me stating that Mr. Hop is my client, which he was because he hired me as his media manager, he's claiming that extrapolates that I was claiming to be his lawyer, which I never did. And he says, what you should do is drop this now. Ron is only going to get more hurt by this. It should have ended at his apology. So this is what Mark says to me unprovoked, by the way, folks. This is what Mark says to me unprovoked. And so I said back to him, Mr. Chan, I sent the messages to the quote-unquote shares in hopes that they would remove the content. So this was me sending the cease and desist to people who have shared the content, shared the accusations against Mr. Hop, saying, please cease and desist, please take this down, yada, yada, yada. I sent the messages to the quote-unquote shares in hopes that they would remove the content so Ron would not have to pursue further action. If you feel that this is quote-unquote harassment, please provide me where I have quote-unquote wronged you, and I'll gladly discuss that. I'm not interested in speaking to you about your experience with or without Ron. I'm interested in keeping things on topic and relevant. If you disagree, I will leave you to what actions you see fit. And he responds a little bit later here. Did he? I think he did. Yeah. Okay. I cut this really poorly. It was done quickly. So he responds back to that one. This threatening of various community members. In law, we call that breach of goodwill. So again, he's representing himself. Ron Soy. No, this is Mark Chan, Tie-Brunner. This is Mark Chan. So he's representing himself as a legal entity, or at least someone in the legal profession here. So
sure,
this threatening of various community members, in law we call that breach of goodwill. Don't try to bullshit. You're bad at it. If I hear you harassing another member with your quote unquote take it down or else bullshit, you'll have an actual C&D on your desk from an actual lawyer. So does that not sound like a threat, folks?
Mm-hmm.
Does that not sound like a threat? So next I said to him, "It's not a threat, Mr. Chan. I'm simply asking on behalf of my client, Mr. Hop, as he is instructed. He feels threatened and grossly abused by some comments made, which are also coincidentally being continued and perpetrated by yourself, no less." And he responds back, "Hurt feelings aren't threats nor abuse." That's true. However, what he's doing right now, I would argue otherwise. You would have to go a long way to convince the court otherwise, but do you really think Ron can afford to sue 20 or 30 people? I doubt it. On a lawyer's negotiation alone, that's a few $100,000 and 3 years of trial time. So, and oh yeah, here we go. And he says, where did I drop off? Here we go. I said, "I'm free to ask people to take down offensive content whenever I wish. It's suggested to do so before reporting it to Facebook. I suggest if you feel this strongly about the topic to take action instead of speaking to me about this. It's not my concern who Ron can and cannot sue." And he responds back, "No lawyer in Canada would take it, and actually you're not." Which I don't understand what the hell he's talking about there. And I reply back, "I'll ask you to please cease contact with me because I find your persistence threatening and harassing, which is one of the requirements that you have to put down if you're like indicating harassment, blah, blah, blah." And he replies back, "The civil code forbids using a tone of legal authority to censor individuals." And he says, "Oh, my apologies. Mr. J.D. Weir will be in touch," of which I never actually heard from. I actually emailed him and he never replied. To which what did I say? I said, "I've not once declared myself a legal authority, just to clarify." Mark Chan says, "Declaration is not required to mislead. Welcome to actual law, how the system will view things." And I said, I'll keep your messages on file in anticipation of your suit."
Okay, whoa. Tell me again why this exchange happened in the first place again? Because
so back in 2015. Oh, and funny part is just to finish this off. This did so. No, it wasn't Mark that did this. By the way, several years later, there was an individual that brought this particular situation to the bar association in Ontario, and the bar association laughed it out. They laughed it out.
How embarrassing!
How embarrassing!
This is so bright.
Because they said
sunglasses that on.
The argument was that I was misleading people, that I was a lawyer, and the bar association said absolutely not. There was no way.
Yep. And this is after how many month investigation?
Yeah.
Remember?
I don't remember exactly, but
I do.
What started
6?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what started all of this?
The follow, but like, what did Mark exactly do to your convention again? Because I don't think you said.
He didn't really do anything. So that basically what happened was, by this time, the convention was the first year convention. It went off, was a good convention for the first year. We had a little bit of hiccups here and there. Some people were really, really angry because City Hall advertised free parking. And there was one or two areas that the parking was not free, and somebody got a ticket. And so somebody's parents got a ticket for parking there. And so after the convention was finished, and we were kind of in our afterglow of the convention, Ty, the Ron he's referring to was Mr. Hop, not Ron Soy.
No.
So after the convention was finished, in the afterglow of the convention, somebody posts on our Facebook page, on the Kitchener Comic Con Facebook page, about the parking not being free and how horrible, blah 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 blah, everything, blah 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 blah. That started off like a cascade of negative comments from people about parking and blah blah blah, and how terrible the convention is because they'd advertised free parking and there was not free parking and da 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 da. The typical bullshit. So, Mr. Hop, in his unfettered glory, wakes up midday, rolls over, looks at Facebook, sees the negative comment, in his half-awakened stupor, replies, saying, we put on a great convention. Everything was awesome. If this is the only thing, blah blah blah. It's like I could tell you to eat a dick, but that would be unprofessional, so I'm not going to. And he says to me, he's like, at that moment, I thought about how bad that would be to send that. And it's like I was thinking I probably shouldn't send this, and then I hit enter and sent it, and then rolled back over and went to sleep. So I was working days at this point, so I was at work, and I'm checking like the Facebook because I'm seeing the Facebook blowing up. I'm like, what the hell's going on? So I check the Facebook, and people see this comment, and they are going off the deep end about, oh my God, the con owner told someone to eat a dick. Oh my God, sexual harassment. Oh my God, rape and plunder and death and murder. Everything needs to be burnt down to the ground. So I call Mr. Hop, and I'm like, you need to do two things right now. You need to shut up and not reply to anybody.
Okay.
So we sat down after at the bar, and we discussed everything. And he's like
crying.
And he's in tears. He's like, "What the fuck am I going to do?" I'm like, "This is what we're going to do." I'm like, "You hire me as your media manager. I'm going to take care of this for you. You're going to not say a fucking word to anybody for 3 days. We're going to solve this. We're going to get through it." So we looked through everything. We went to the police. We went to the police station because at this point, this is beyond a, oh, Mr. Hop is a meanie poo-poo head. There are people legitimately online being like, this man needs to die. He needs to be burnt to the ground. He needs to never be employed again. He needs to. I'm going to beat the crap out of this guy. Blah, blah, blah. Like, there's legitimate shit going on in this thread, and like people saying like that he's a pedophile, and people saying that he's a rapist, and that all this other stuff. So this is beyond mean words at this point. So we go to the local police department. We say, what the hell can we do about this? And the police looks at it and it's like, well, yeah, this is pretty nuts. He's like, but you can't sue the internet. He's like, you can probably like pick out one or two people to go after, but he's like, we can't really do anything and you can't sue the internet. He's like, so like the best thing you could probably do is just post a thing saying like, please stop and desist. If you keep doing it, then we're going to go after you, kind of thing. Oh. So I went and searched around for some like basically form letter templates. Found on a legal site a cease and desist letter that you basically just put in, like you copy and paste and then you put in your own little stuff into it. It's like, please stop doing X. It blah 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 blah. Whatever else. So I copied it. We posted it as a reply to the Facebook page, and the most offending individuals I sent messages to say, hey, can you please stop saying this stuff? Because if you don't, then we're going to have to take a look. We're going to have to look into actions against you. And in my post, I referred to Mr. Hop as my client because he paid me to be his media manager, so he was my client. Mm-hmm. And we referenced that, I can't remember exactly what it was. It was something along the lines of like, if people continue to defame and, harass Mr. Hop, blah, 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 then we will have to take it to our legal team at the time. And so people got hung up on the fact that I said legal team and the fact that I said client. And they were going off the rails saying like, oh my God, you're posing as a lawyer, you're threatening to sue people, you're doing this, you're doing that, da 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 da. Then I get a message from Mark Chan, No word of a lie. That is the message that I got from him regarding it. I didn't have a conversation with him before this. I didn't have any sort of relationship with him at all before this. He messaged me. That was his first interaction with me following that series of events.
And on top of all of that, while Mark was doing this, Mark and I have always been civil toward each other up to this point. Like, there's no animosity, no, I wish you would die from cancer and a house fire type of thing. Like nothing like that. Like, perfect example, when I was at Com Bravo with him, he basically invited me and a colleague to a very special meeting where he proposed to his wife. We shared his engagement cake. I was there with my own YouTube channel at the time, basically showcasing the event. Plus, I was a radio show producer at the point in time as well, so I was basically interviewing people at his event. And there was one hiccup that took place over a promotional table on what I couldn't do. And the reason why this hiccup took place is that no one really told me what you could do at a promotional table or what you can't do. So, obviously there was a misunderstanding with that, but generally things were pretty civil. That's how that works. So the thing is that Marky Mark sends me a Facebook message, and I just can't show it because I have my new laptop here. And basically he says, your social media manager? I went, well, yeah. He goes, no, I go, no, I did not say that. I said, I'm sorry, I cannot reply to this email. I've been told on good authority that I cannot talk to anyone for 3 days. Replies back. He says, your social media manager is making more trouble for you, and you should fire him. My reply was exactly what I said before, without anything moving. And basically he replies back saying, well, you're an asshole. I reply back again. And he says, your social media manager is going to make the death of you, blah, blah, blah. Like, and you should fire him and blah, 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 blah. Reply back again. And these are the games that Mark was playing, because basically he couldn't get anywhere with Crumb. And he starts coming over to my side of things, and hopefully I would fire her, and wasn't doing it.
Yeah, and I believe he was still a director of Con Bravo at this time.
It's so hard to remember those type of things.
This is 2015.
Yeah. No,
so I'm
right.
thinking.
No, yeah. No, I think you're on the button there. Yeah,
I'm thinking it was like probably about the year before he got yeeted.
Now he's the panel's coordinator at Anime North for whatever rhyming reason.
Right? This, ladies and gentlemen, this is the person that Anime North has deemed acceptable to be in charge of your panels.
One of the largest anime conventions in Canada, top 3 in North America.
Threatening legal action over something that he is not even a part of.
And there's 2 people here that worked very hard for Anime North for not just 1 year, but several years. And it's kind of weird how we both got ousted for doing the best job we possibly could for the departments that we made from scratch.
But I submit to the decision of the audience here.
Mm-hmm.
If this individual, Mark Chan, is working high up, working very, very closely with Donald Simmons of Anime North, the director of Anime North, and all of a sudden, Kitchener Comic-Con is having issues with the Toronto cosplay community, with Anime North, with YetiCon, which is another convention that Mark Chan volunteers at, which we have plenty of issues. I submit to the consideration of those watching. Please take a look into the words that is being said here, when literally the only conversation I've ever had with this man is sitting in front of you right now.
And isn't it also weird that Mr. Tan also ran Costume Con back in the day? That's
so
weird.
As an individual who is very influential in the Southern Ontario convention community, very influential with the cosplay community, etc., etc. I submit to your consideration. I'm not going to tell you guys what to think. Just take it there. Truth or consequences. Go for it. So thoughts on it? Final thoughts on this Gippy?
Wow, yeah. I did not expect you to drop such a bombshell. Like I have a few of my own bombshells, but I didn't think the podcast would go this far into the rabbit hole. But thank you very much for being very candid with this post. It's just a very intimate peek into who the type of people are at Anime North, and I've had my own dealings with the staff. One store in particular has hit me very personally. I'm not sure if we have time to share it, but
we have time.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
So this one I might get a little bit emotional about it, but
oh goodness gracious, okay.
Okay, I'm just give me a moment. Fill up with like a minute of talk or so. I'm just trying to grab the pick here. Just give me a
no worries. I'll keep this up for a moment here. Gamer Hands Jr. Welcome to the chat. He says, "Yo, what the fuck? Anime North is legit garbage." I mean, absolutely. This is the type of people that they have on their staff. I can guarantee you that Mark has not changed from what he was. I mean, like this type of individual. Obviously, like something happened that he stepped away from Con Bravo. Maybe he decided he wanted to devote more time to Anime North. I don't know.
Maybe he's married. Maybe his career.
Who knows? But basically, this is the type of individual that is running Anime North now. This is a person that's working close with Donald. I would hazard a guess that a lot of the tumultuous stuff going on between Eileen and the other people, I would say that it's possible that has something to do with it as well. Gamer Hands Jr. says they kicked me out after Marchie dissed me when I asked a question. Absolutely.
Okay.
This is the type of behavior that they foster. This is what's okay for them.
And let's play some 3D chess here just for a second there, Crumb.
Oh, and 1 second. So Blaze Firestorm, Mark Chan is not a part of Con Bravo anymore, from what I understand.
Yeah.
He's not a part of the Con Bravo anymore. Go ahead.
Yeah. Let's play some 3D chess. Isn't it weird that back a couple of years ago, there was this giant hate campaign against Eileen because a lot of people thought that power was getting to her head and basically she wasn't really paying attention to the convention goers. And this went on for quite some time. I'm going to say like a few days on the internet, if you know what I mean. And isn't it weird that people like myself stood up and made the hashtag, said I'm with Eileen, and it's sort of odd that Donald and Mark are really getting closer together for programming.
It is very interesting, isn't it?
Isn't it? Because the thing is that you're familiar with the frog in the pot scenario. If you have a boiling pot, you throw a live frog and the frog jumps out right away. But if you keep turning up the temperature ever so slightly, the frog actually dies because it doesn't keep track of its temperature.
Yeah.
Eileen, watch your back.
All right. So this last story is quite personal to me. So I'm just going to share the screen here.
Sure.
Okay. So, well, I'm going to share the screen in a moment, but here's the thing. Sometime near the end of 2017, beginning of 2018 or something, a high-ranking staff member of Anime North had a baby.
Oh.
And, this is typically good news. So this staffer decided to post the baby photo on the official Anime North Facebook group. And I had second thoughts about this because I believe that baby photos should not be made public because the baby cannot give consent. Like I have, we all have our own baby photos. My baby photos are in the photo album that nobody else but me and my mother and my immediate family can see because I don't think it's right to share those photos on the internet. I don't think it's right if my mother were to use the internet, I don't think it would be right for her to share those photos. So this is what happened. I'm going to share this window here. It is this one. Okay, so I'm sharing this this, and I reply under, you see, that's my real name, Dave Lim. That's not really that's not it's not hidden or anything. Anyone can really figure out my real name because I use it for my game shows. So I just said the child did not, the child did not give consent. This violates Rule 9. So the staffer by the name of Regina Simon Beecham, responds back. You see the star beside her name. That's admin status.
Oh,
so
Regina.
High-ranking staff member. If you see the star, and you need a life. Thanks for trolling a happy occasion, jerk. Well, the story does not end there. Okay, the story does not end there. She DMs me here with the words "fuck you." And then I would reply back, I would appreciate it if you would not harass me about the choice you've made. If you want to clear things up, please speak to me at the staff meeting on the 22nd. Thank you. And I can see that the timestamp is October of 2017. So this is before Anime North 2018.
Okay.
So, here, I'm not going to read it verbatim, but it's like, please don't talk to me. I was actually being polite on the forum. What I do is none of your business. Freedom of speech is not freedom from consequence, blah, 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 blah. This is not harassing you. I'm letting you know how I feel about you and what you did. This will be the end of it. You will not hear from me again. This is perfectly summed in 2 words. Fuck you. So this is an Anime North executive talking to an Anime North staffer. So I was quite upset about this. Okay. So in my, I was upset enough that I actually did find out her place of employment. Okay. She works at the Center for Addiction and Mental Health. Now, this is a little bit personal to me because my brother, just a few months earlier, prior to this post, admitted himself into the Center for Addiction and Mental Health for schizophrenia. Okay. And so after seeing this and finding out where she worked, I was very scared and concerned that my brother may have been come into contact with this person who was saying such stuff to me. So I was very concerned about this, and I didn't know what to do. And at the CAMH website in particular, you can actually give feedback on their services and direct complaints and comments about a particular staff, or if the service that they received was like good or bad or not. And I thought long and hard about whether or not to send this message over to CAMH. And it was really tough. And I decided, I thought about it for a while, and I decided it's just not worth it. This is petty. But even though I know that my brother might be hurt by this person, I didn't want to just escalate it further.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
At the staff meeting, the following staff meeting, Eileen confronted me about this. She had not seen this direct message. She had only seen the post on Facebook, and that was one of the reasons that led to what I mentioned was my temporary dismissal from Anime North. It wasn't just because of the game show performance or any demands I made. It was also because of this, and I have not publicized this until now because it's something that is very personal to me. I would not want a person who interacted with me in this way to treat one of my family members who has a serious schizophrenia. Is not a joke. People can do very bad things about it, and so that's what it came down to, right? In the end, nothing came of it, but what I do also, one last thing I want to mention is that I believe Regina Beecham was also the person who made the decision to ban KimiCon from Anime North.
Yeah.
There you go. So it all comes around.
And it just goes to show you the mentality of some of these individuals. Yeah. It's absolutely crazy. And this is the.
Are you okay?
On. Yeah, I'm all fine. Okay. I'll be fine. I'll just drink a couple more beers.
Okay.
Sips of beer. Yeah.
This is what I'm talking about when people talk about the broken staircase. I always fucking laugh because I hate that word. I hate that word so much because these are the type of people that create a broken staircase.
Yeah.
It's these people that they're legitimately problems that everyone knows. However, if you tell them that they have a problem, then you're the one that gets destroyed for it. Look at what happened to Gippy here. Gippy gets kicked out of Anime North.
Anime North.
For sticking up for my brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Mr. Hobb gets kicked out of Anime North because he has to go against the grain for a day. Like I get a nasty message from Mark Chan from at the time a convention owner, a chairman, whatever the hell he was, a chairperson of Con Bravo at the time, like threatening me with legal action for standing up for Mr. Hobb, who at the time was being harassed and literally threatened because he made a comment online. These are the type of people that run conventions in this region, which is why Mr. Hobb and myself and a group of other people said, you know what? We're gonna we don't want to do work for those people.
Yeah.
We want to start our own stuff and carve out our own community and fuck those people and fuck that mentality, because we don't want the toxic clowns from Toronto. We don't want the toxic clowns from other communities and people like that. We don't want the Reginas or the Marks having dictatorship over how we run our events and how we run our conventions. So we started our own. And they can't fucking stand it.
They did stand it when we were a mini.
No, they thought that, it doesn't matter. They thought it doesn't matter. That's gonna fail in a year. They're not gonna do anything, and they're not. They're this, they're that. They're just gonna fall on themselves. We'll just wait until they trip over themselves. We'll wait until they hit the floor. Then we sign Vic Mignogna. But no, obviously he's not going to show up. He's just going to be a virtual thing, right? It's just going to be a tire fire. It's going to be a dumpster event. It's going to be horrible.
He's known for the horrible things he does. Oh,
it's just going to be a horrible event anyways. He's just going to be like, blah, blah, blah. Then he shows up. Then it's a great event. He crossed the border. He showed up to the event. He got paid. We didn't skulk him on the bill. No. We didn't do any of these things that people said we were going to do. We succeeded. Not only did we succeed, several months later, we win not one, but 2 Reader's Choice Awards, beating out events like Oktoberfest, beating out events like the TD Blues Festival, like the Rib Fest, beating out Jazz Fest.
And these are
massive
all
events.
Major events. Major events within the region. Also, don't forget the biggest maple syrup festival on the planet.
Yeah, beat the Elmira Maple Syrup Festival, which may sound funny to a lot of people.
Yeah.
But the Elmira Maple Syrup Festival is massive in this region.
Yeah.
We got voted a better tourist attraction than the St. Jacobs Farmers Market, which is iconic.
Yeah. It may sound very small potatoes, but not in this area.
And not only did Vic succeed, like Gamer Hands Jr. said, he broke a bank. We had to go to 2 banks to get money to pay him because they did not have enough money in the bank.
Yep. Odd that.
So let that sink in. Let that sink in, Anime North. Let that sink in, everybody out there that said negative shit about us. We aren't going anywhere.
And on top of all of that, when people sent us messages and how they're going to rape people in the fucking toilet, give me a break. Plus, on top of that, do we look at this? Maybe we should cancel. Maybe we should take a step back. We stood up. We got more security people. We got the regional water police involved. What's people do? They fucking contact them over Twitter and go, "Why are you doing this?" Blah, 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 and give them slack. But guess what? They showed up anyways.
We had
City Hall had more security.
Because we had people like Regina, like Mark. I'm not going to say that they did because I don't know if they did or not. We have people like them, people that run conventions, contacting our city, contacting our officials, contacting our guests.
And something else I want to add, people calling our event unsafe and then going behind privately and basically deliver nothing but negativity, thus making the situation even worse. Give your fucking head a shake.
I remember one tweet where several people who had tweeted such multiple negative posts about the convention went to the convention anyway.
Exactly.
They did. They absolutely did.
And they fucking danced around afterwards. Like, oh, we're going to do this. And it's like, where's your fucking maturity?
Yeah. It's
and
like,
just thank fucking God that we're a bunch of nice people because we want to burn your shit to the fucking ground. We could do it. And we know how. And to make things even more fantastic, we'll sleep good that night while your fucking world is burning around you. And don't think we don't know where your skeletons are either, because we know. Oh, heaven fucking forbids we know.
But the difference is we're bigger people than that.
We're better people.
yeah.
And we're here to give a message of positivity and generate opportunity where other cities do not, unless they're looking after their own. We don't have to do this, but we want to do this to better our community and better the things that we're a part of. And all those motherfuckers out there to understand that,
That's what I gotta say. It comes down to listening to the right people, because we're not the ones out here telling our staff that, oh, it doesn't matter if we cancel this year because we have a nest egg.
And we're not telling
we're good that we're set for a couple of years.
And we're not telling and also we're not telling our contacts, our vendors, our staff members, our volunteers, if you go to this event, you can't come back to our event.
Yeah. Crumb, do you have that email by Don Simmons, the leaked email? Maybe people want to see that one, the nest egg email.
I might,
because I know you tweeted about it.
I might have it.
Yeah. But it's just stuff like this just infuriates me. Just completely infuriates me. Plus, on top of that, here comes the funny part. If we were full of excrement, people in the States wouldn't start making documentary videos over this. And they have. And these are individuals who are highly intelligent, looking at the full aspect of things and moving forward with that. There's no hidden agenda what we're doing. We just want to better our community and generate opportunities. That's it. That's all that we want to do. Have some fun in the progress. Eat coconut shrimp. Drink some whiskey. Like, these are all horrible things we're trying to do. Like, trust me, this is not a campaign that's built on financial gain. It helps, but it's definitely not. And a lot of conventions that are out there, they're based on nothing but financial gains. As Nick Ricada said, this is for the fans. For the fans.
Yeah, and that's why I kept doing my my game shows at Anime North, even
it's like
what the hell, right? Because
we're both on the exact same page. It's like this is why I took Anime North from a gaming area to a gaming section to a gaming department. And to do that, to have it where it is right now and seeing the machine that I built coming apart is so heartbreaking. But I look at that, I kind of go, at the end of the day, it's really not my event. I contribute as positively as I possibly can. And when I was the gaming director for Anime North, my biggest thing that I want to do is get the creator of the games to play with their fans. That's what I wanted. And the thing is that I got that. And I got to tell you, one of the best stories I'm now remembering, because, my brain takes a while to kick in. I was napping all day. Is that I was working with this group called Blade Group. They're the largest independent, emphasize the word independent, fan group for Beyblade. Don't get it, too old, but you know what? I understood what they were doing. And this is sort of like inheriting stuff over from the previous person who ran the gaming area. So I brought them in, and we started a base relationship. But the funny thing is, they kept growing, and they kept growing, and they kept growing. Here's what was going on pretty much at the end of my tenure of running things. We managed to get contact of Hasbro. Hasbro donated a whole bunch of Beyblade stuff for the kids. And I got to tell you, my heart actually skipped a beat. I was so happy because I was seeing these kids running around in Beyblade t-shirts and playing Beyblade. And they didn't have a fucking care in the world. I stopped and I looked at that. I almost cried. Fuck, I'm tearing up a little bit right now. Because that is what conventions are for. It's not for 25 or 35-year-olds to come in there with their own fucking egos, their own agendas, and stick their nose up and say, well, this convention's better, and that convention isn't better because they didn't pay any attention to me, or they took advantage of my generosity, or they did this and did that. It's like, fuck, man. When my mom was 20, she was raising 2 kids, working 2 full-time jobs, and going to university. Like, where in the fuck do these people get off? Where's the maturity? If we went out and did horrible, horrible things, I could get the backlash of karma. But we haven't. I'm not the best person on the planet, and I know that, but I'm definitely not the worst either. And these fucking people, like, they don't understand.
No, they do understand. They don't care.
No. They don't care. The thing is that these people have attacked my friends and my family. They've tried to push the event initiatives into the toilet, and we're still here. We may fight and argue amongst ourselves, but we really care about each other. And this is one of the few things these people don't understand. And to make things even more sad,
see, they don't understand it because they don't have it.
Exactly. Exactly.
They don't have it. They talk about Anime North being this, being that, whatever else. Tell you one thing Anime North is not. It's not a family.
No, it's not. And they're definitely not there for the fans anymore. They used to be back when Dave and I were part of the event initiative. And we really poured a lot of our energy into that just to make it work. Fucking sad.
Yeah. But there's always a silver lining to this. Since I've left Anime North, I've met you too. I've met a bunch of wonderful people at IFF Toronto. I've kept my contacts at Unplugged Expo and Otakuthon, and those two are excellent conventions as well. So, losing Anime North was not the end of the world for me. It was a huge blow, and I know people who don't closely follow me wonder where I ended up, but hopefully they'll be able to find me because my YouTube channel states where I am now, and next year I hope next year is going to be absolutely fantastic. We're going to have to talk to see if I'm able to do an event at Kitchener Comic Con.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. We'll talk about that.
Festival
Toronto and Otakuthon. I'll have to be in touch with them as well. See if they would allow me to do an event there, and I would be most grateful to, because at the end of the day, they're the ones giving you the space and time, right? So you have to always look at it that way. But it's a two-way street, right? It's completely within your right to expect something in return, and don't let anyone ever guilt trip you into thinking because you're asking for something that you're being selfish, because that's how they get people.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think that's a good point to end on. I mean, my thoughts here: support the conventions that give back to their fans. Support the Kimmy-Cons. Support the Kitchener Comic-Cons. Find the conventions that don't capitulate to the big ones and that don't sit there and toe the line so that the people like Mark Chan can continue doing and operating the way that they do. Just skip back and read what his conversation was again, and that is exactly how they threaten people and push people and censor people on a daily basis. You think that they have no problem doing that to a complete stranger?
Yeah.
Like, my goodness.
Just imagine if we all got together and worked together. Just imagine what we could accomplish.
It would be an incredible thing, which it makes me angry when people out there claim that Kitchener Comic-Con doesn't work with other events. That's bullshit, because we would in a heartbeat support any event initiative, period.
Yeah.
Without question. Because the more events, the more happy customers, the more happy fans, the more of the next generation that gets interested in going to events, the longer we can do it and the better we can be.
That's what comes down to it. That's what comes down to it.
Well, the last podcast was with you two was 3 hours. This one looks to be about the same length. 3
Absolutely.
Yeah. Can we stretch this out for another 11 minutes?
No, I don't think so.
11 minutes, but I'm no Drex, so I can't do what was it, 8 hours?
7 hour stream. Okay.
Yeah, that's it's kind of wild. But I think with just the one convention topic, we did pretty well. 6 hours just for the entire convention saga. I think that last story with me and Regina was basically the last one of the last things in the coffin for me. So like the things in the closet for me, and so I'm all out of really juicy anime or stories. I've said a lot today. I didn't expect to share that story, but I felt compelled to empowered, not compelled, because compelled means forced, but I felt empowered to share that story once you shared your story with Mark Tan. And
absolutely. Well, I'm thankful that you did that. So thank you so much for sharing that.
It was really
I'm hoping that other people out there can see this and that have receipts speak up. Don't just jump on the bandwagon because you hear it. I don't want people to jump on and fluff up our stories just because they hate X, Y, or Z person. I want people to speak up because they've actually been affected. I want people to speak up because they want to see change, because they want to see. I don't want Anime North to go away. I want Anime North to be better.
Yeah.
And
even if it was just a small thing of just reducing the panels requirement from 5 to 3, it'd be a lot better. But
well, I have something to say for all those haters out there. So
go ahead.
We might want to turn down your microphone or your headphones a little bit because it's going to be loud.
Done.
Perfect. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this broadcast has proudly been brought to you by the Canuckleheads.
The showstopper, Ronald Hop, the mistress of darkness herself,
Crumbreon.
And if
the two-time Diamond Event champions of the world.
The Road Dog, Ronald Hop, the Mistress of Darkness, Cresidio Holmes.
And if you don't like that, we got 2 words for you. Suck it! Good night, everybody. Thank you so much.
Where's the sponsors? You got to plug your merch.
Links are below. Links are below. Go check it out.
Video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. For now, bye-bye.